And Broken Bow wins the Mid-Nebraska League Championship game in walk-off fashion. Carter Johnson, a little flare to right field. Found the outfield grass, and Broken Bow has won the Mid-Nebraska League Championship.
He's just a strong opponent for any wrestler. I mean, undefeated state champ last year in the state finals the year before, a three-time state medalist, and there, really nice takedown. Good fluid motion by a guy that's wrestling 195 pounds.
Brady Skinner with it, up top. Fay at the buzzer, hits the three, nice looking shot.
To Folkers, back at the Grant, long three, got it!
Nice. Cash attacks, double, almost triple teamed, out to Connell, deep three, hit it. That's a three for South Loup.
I have to make sure I set my cruise control when I drive after I watch this event.
Yeah, exactly. Car 204, the Yellow Viper of Ryan Firstenau.
Oh.
Hello to all our viewers out there. Thank you very much for tuning in. You get a look at where we're talking to you from.
You get second, 6, and now 5. Pandorf atop of the key 3. Good! Pandorf at the buzzer. Johnson hammered out towards center. Holm going back. Holm will dive, and did he make the catch? He did! Caden Holm, a diving catch across his body to the right.
Ball comes out of there. Who's going to hop on top of it? It's going to be scooped up by Cooksley. Inside the 30, the 20, 15, 10. Can he get there? He can. It's 6 points for Sandhill Thedford on defense. The scoop and score.
Calero sends it in the corner to Santos. A 3, got it. His third from...
Welcome to another broadcast of high school sports here on Central Nebraska's Sports Source. We want to say thanks to all the community-spirited businesses who bring you our coverage. We hope that you'll join us thanking those sponsors by giving them your patronage.
Thank you to these businesses that bring you every high school and Husker broadcast.
Nebraska State Bank, Grocery Cart, Arrow Seed, Team Physical Therapy, Meade Lumber, Custer Federal State Bank, Rod's Body and Paint, Trotter Service, Shelter Insurance, Agland ATV, Duda Plumbing, Sargent Irrigation, Melham Medical Center, Geared for Sports, Broken Bow Dental, Nebraska Owners Insurance Agency, Gateway Motors, High Street Insurance and Financial Services, Taylor Heating and Cooling, Justin Thompson Agency, Palmer Monument, Central Nebraska Diesel. Now, let's go live for our coverage of exciting sports action on Central Nebraska Sports Source.
And good afternoon, everybody. We welcome you live to Ansley High School as we bring you live coverage of high school wrestling, our first wrestling broadcast of the 2025-26 season. Hi, everybody. I'm Brent Apperson. Be joined by Kurt Crowley a little bit later as we bring you high school wrestling live on the radio and live on our video stream today as well, and we'll tell you more about that in just a moment. But first, we want to say thanks to those who are sponsoring our radio broadcast today. Of course, you just heard those who sponsor us year-round with our radio sports broadcast. Joining us today, helping sponsor the radio broadcast, include Central Nebraska Electric, Twin Loop Boosters, Muddy Creek Ag, Jones Group, Flatwater Bank, Rocks Underground, Insurance of the Heartland, Agribest Feeds in Callaway, the South Loop Community Pharmacy, also Callaway District Hospital with the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics, A1 Auto Repair, Hamilton, Custer County Exteriors, Mills Hardware, and Rain Dance Repair. The 4 teams competing here today, the host team Ansley Litchfield being joined by South Loop, Twin Loop, and Overton. We'll continue with more after these words on Central Nebraska's Sports Source.
Central Nebraska Electric in Ansley is a proud supporter of this broadcast and area high school sports action. Playing hard throughout the season takes a lot of work, and Todd salutes that dedication. Any electrical work you need done right the first time deserves a free estimate from Central Nebraska Electric. Call them at 750-6458. That's Central Nebraska Electric in Ansley, sponsoring this broadcast and wishing area teams good luck this season.
This broadcast of the Twin Loop Wolves is brought to you by the Twin Loop Boosters, including Speltz Lumber Company, Stars Wildlife Inn, Taylor Storage, TCH Seeds, Team Physical Therapy PC, The Rescue Bar and Grill, Treptow Cattle Company, Trotter Grain and Fertilizer, Trotter's Blow and Go, Union Bank and Trust, Upstream Ranch, Valley County Health System, and Wagner Bunkhouse and Cabins. Enjoy the broadcast brought to you in part by the Twin Loop Boosters.
At Muddy Creek Ag in Ansley, they love supporting the Ansley Litchfield Spartans and all that these student athletes achieve in competition and in the classroom. Pete, Ryan, Trey, and Brandy supply their customers with all feed and seed products while exceeding expectations with fair prices and service that is unmatched by the competition. They have new and used seed tenders and are your local channel seedmen, cheering on the Spartans and bringing you this sports coverage. Muddy Creek Ag. Call 308-935-1155 for Muddy Creek Ag on Highway 2 in Ansley.
Jones Group Insurance has been serving communities in Nebraska for over 35 years as an independent insurance agency. They take pride in the knowledge, coverage, and services they can offer. So when you work with them, you can be sure you're getting the right coverage with sincere service. Jones Group is always proud to support the local communities, and their local agents are happy to help, whether it be home, auto, life, health, crop, business, and more. Visit with Seth Behrens at the Jones Group team on Main Street in Ansley.
Whether you're purchasing your first home or considering a mortgage refinance, the process can be intimidating. That's why working with someone local is a great option. Hi, I'm Morgan Fornoff, a mortgage officer at Flatwater Bank. It can be confusing when talking to a lender about a home loan. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer or you've purchased in the past, I have the tools and experience to help you navigate the process. Give me a call today and experience the Flatwater Bank difference yourself.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Rocks Underground serves Central Nebraska with expertise in water and irrigation services. Need some help? Call Rocky Dockweiler at 870-3457. Rocky salutes the student athletes of the area and all the hard work they put in each and every season and is very proud of the young men and women that live in Central Nebraska. Enjoy this broadcast, brought to you in part by Rocky Dockweiler with Rocks Underground in Oconto.
Insurance of the Heartland in Ansley is a proud radio sponsor of area high school sports. The skills that students learn in athletics go beyond the playing field. These student athletes learn teamwork, work ethic, and competitiveness, just to name a few. The sports that they participate in also are a way to bring communities together. The team at Insurance of the Heartland in Ansley is happy to help bring you this broadcast to cheer on your team.
AgriBest Feeds in Callaway is your source for all ranching needs. Talk to them about their new Room and Edge lick tubs for outstanding nutrition. They also carry Powder River and Tartar livestock equipment and molasses-free Sweet Pro tubs and Redmond Trace mineral salt. AgriBest Feeds also has vet supplies and pet foods. For Christmas, consider their dry shod boots, Nebo light products, gloves, and more. And remember, Jesus is the reason for this season. Visit AgriBest Feeds in Callaway today.
We welcome you back to Ansley High School as we get closer to the start of our wrestling competition here tonight. Again, joining Ansley Litchfield, teams from South Loop, Twin Loop, and Overton. We'll have play-by-play of all matches for you tonight on KCNI Radio. And we're also live with our video stream as well, so you can watch the matches accompanied by the radio call tonight. And we want to say thanks to those sponsors who are making that possible this evening. They include BD, Grocery Cart, Nebraska State Bank, Agland ATV, Palmer Monument, Insurance of the Heartland, H&R Block, Culligan, Mead Lumber of Broken Bow, Callaway District Hospital with the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics, Lyons Appliance, the Garden Center, Downey Drilling, Callaway Market, Power Solutions, and Muddy Creek Ag. Excited to bring you our first wrestling broadcast of the season, and we'll have more from here in Ansley after these words on KCNI Radio.
The staff at South Loop Pharmacy in Callaway is proud to be a sponsor of this sports broadcast. They support all the area athletes and are pleased to be a part of the South Loop Bobcat community. Their pharmacy provides knowledge on what is best for you and your family members. Stop in and talk to them today. South Loop Pharmacy in Callaway, knowing you by name, not just a refill number.
The Callaway District Hospital, along with the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics, are proud of the South Loop Bobcats. New patients are always welcome. They understand that healthcare is evolving and are committed to providing local access to high-quality care by continuing to invest in the latest diagnostic and treatment technology. Their specialty is primary care. Callaway District Hospital and the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics cheering on the South Loop Bobcats.
A1 Auto Repair in Arnold is proud to support our local student athletes and help bring you the action when you can't be there in person. When it comes to fixing cars, the bearded guys at A1 are kind of like mechanical wizards, just with wrenches instead of magic wands. Trust them. You'd much rather they have a wrench than a magic wand. They'll have your car running smoothly and get you back on the road in no time. Stop by 110 East 7th Avenue in Arnold. Call 308-848-2542 or click A1AutoRepairInc.com.
Hamilton is connecting your world at light speed with fiber to the home internet so you can access the fastest, most reliable internet from your home or business. Hamilton is your link to high-speed internet, Cobalt TV, Wi-Fi throughout the entire home, and telephone service so you can keep connected with your friends and family. For the fastest internet speeds, reliable service, and local customer support, contact Hamilton. We are proud to support all our local athletes and teams. Good luck this season from all of us at Hamilton.
When storms bear down on your beautiful home and leave behind damage, you want it looking gorgeous again in no time at all. Custer County Exteriors is proud to serve Central Nebraska with their dedication and experience. They are local Central Nebraskans serving fellow Central Nebraskans. Their goal is for your chin to be down as little time as possible because of that storm damage. Call Nate with Custer County Exteriors, 402-641-3246. That's Custer County Exteriors at 402-641-3246.
Mills Hardware is proud to support the local athlete. From painting to tools, sporting goods to office supplies, Mills Hardware is the place to go. Always remember, if they don't have it, they will try to get it for you. They have 155 different suppliers that they work with and offer services like hunting, fishing, and park permits, key making, and more. They thank you for your continued patronage of their store. You're very important to them. Thank you from the Mills Hardware and Feed team.
Rich Runlet with Rain Dance Repair, proud to be your local connection for Beehive pivot monitoring and control systems, as well as soup cup bins. Whether you're needing to get your augers up to date and bins repaired or need a new system, Rain Dance Repair can help. If you haven't heard about Beehive Smart Connected Technology, give Rich a call. He'll get you set up for monitoring and control of your pivots without subscription fees, while also saving time and money. Call Rich at Rain Dance Repair at 870-4455, your local Sioux Cup and Beehive Ag Connection.
This broadcast of the Twin Loop Wolves is being brought to you by the Twin Loop Boosters, including 4W Delaney, Agland ATV, Burwell Dental Clinic, Burwell Family Practice PC, Burwell Pharmacy, Calamus Outfitters, Central Nebraska Electric, the City of Sargent, The Corner Stop, Diamond Ring Ranch, Don and Sue Shada, Fenske Farms, First National Bank, and Govia Brothers Mortuary and Crematory. Enjoy the broadcast brought to you in part by the Twin Loop Boosters.
Now we come back to Ansley High School, getting closer to the start of the Ansley Wrestling Quad. Ansley Litchfield hosting it here today as they welcome in teams from South Loop, Twin Loop, and Overton. And my goodness, look what the wind blew in. It's Kirk Crawley.
Yeah, if it blew me in, you know it's blowing pretty hard out there.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Oh, man. Well, you know, there's that popular song in the month of December, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year.
Absolutely.
And yes, the holidays are here, but wrestling is here, partner, and I know that that is your most wonderful time of the year. Thanks for all the help you've given us over the years in bringing wrestling coverage to our listeners on the radio, and of course today we're live with our video stream as well. Great to be working alongside you for another wrestling season. I know you're excited about it.
Absolutely, and I always appreciate the opportunity to do it. It keeps me involved. It keeps me in the, you know, once you're in that kind of wrestling family, you kind of stay in the wrestling family, and it's nice to get back into that and enjoy visiting with guys and seeing people, and this will be great to kick things off on the radio with this quad tonight.
Yeah, we'll kind of set things up here in just a little bit, but first, Kirk, I thought that I would kind of get your thoughts on what these coaches are trying to establish here in the month of December. I mean, we're just kind of getting started yet. You're working your way toward the holiday break. Of course, you'll have the moratorium where everybody takes a break. Man, we've been hearing about illnesses, and sickness hitting different parts of our area. I know that some of the teams here that we're going to see today, some of the kids maybe are not here because they're not feeling well today. But as a coach, as you try to take the kids through the month of December, what are some of the things that you're trying to gain from this month as you get started, and what are the things you're looking for as you go into the holiday break?
Well, it's all kind of dependent on what kind of team you have coming back. If you've got a real experienced team and you're starting at, say, stage 5 as opposed to stage 2, then you've got a little different perspective. If you've got a bunch of young, inexperienced guys, you can really see a lot of growth with those guys. First of all, just getting acclimated to the intensity of it, the intensity of practice. Sometimes you're as much psychiatrist as you are coach, and keeping people involved, keeping people's, wrestling's tough, and things can be difficult if it's not going well for you. So coming to practice every day, staying with that commitment, and encouraging those kids and letting them know that, we appreciate the effort you're putting out here. Let's work on these things and control the things that you can control. You don't have to fix everything. Let's your area right now that seems to be a little trouble for you might be on your feet. So we're going to work on your stance a little bit, break it down into small, measurable things. What's the old saying? You don't eat the elephant in one bite, you just eat it one bite at a time. So keep everything like that in perspective. Now, if you've got older kids, you're looking at, here we're starting here, but the bottom line with whoever you have, and I don't care if you're talking high school or college, you're working towards the end of the season. If things aren't working out well now, you work on what you can do better, but you keep working to improve for the grind at the end of the season. The University of Nebraska, they didn't wrestle real well down at the national duels the second day. When it comes down to national,
season left.
When the season comes to the end, nobody's going to care if you've gotten better. So that the whole idea is, can we improve?
As far as tonight goes, it'll be interesting to see how things shape out. As we mentioned, some of the teams maybe don't have everybody available today, whether it be because of injury, whether it be because of sickness or whatever. You also have some teams that, are coming in with maybe smaller numbers than what they've had in the past 5 years or so. So not really sure what all we're going to get to see on the mat here today, Kirk, but as we look at these teams coming in and what some of these wrestlers who represent these programs have done up to this point, there are some quality kids that are going to be here tonight.
Yeah, everybody's got somebody in their lineup or potential somebody. Again, we don't know exactly who's here, who isn't as far as illness and injury, but with winning records, that's what you want to work on. Get that record, keep that record of 500 or better, keep improving there. And everybody has somebody like that. In these duels, though, it all comes down to the matchup. Who's matching up with who and how does that work out? Sometimes you can get some really good matches. Simply maybe two inexperienced guys are wrestling each other, and that's a good deal for both those guys. But it all comes down to the matchups and how that all works out.
So we're excited to bring it to you tonight. We're live on KCNI 1280 AM and 96.3 FM. KCNI1280.com and the free KCNI Pure Country app. Don't forget you can watch the action tonight as well, accompanied by Kirk's Call, and you can do so by going to the Sandhills Express Facebook page and Sandhills Express YouTube channel. More from Ansley after these words.
Brr, the chilly season is here. No need to be wearing a stocking hat inside. Talk to them at Mead Lumber in Broken Bow and get your home's insulation upgraded. Not only will you keep the cold outside in the winter, you'll also have a more efficient, clean, and healthy home. At Mead Lumber, they do their very best to accommodate you with information on your project. Check out the awesome resources they offer at meadlumber.com as well. Mead Lumber in Broken Bow. Visit them today on East Highway 2.
Life's better when you're under our roof because we can help you choose insurance to help protect what matters most. Life insurance from American Family Life Insurance Company can help financially protect your loved ones by replacing a portion of your income if you were to pass away. That means your family could have the help they need to continue to pursue their dreams. Contact Justin at the Justin Thompson Agency at 872-5252 today.
American Family Insurance.
Products not available in all states. American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you afraid of falling? Team Physical Therapy can help. 872-5111. Good balance is essential for a healthy, active life. Team Physical Therapy is here to help you stay healthy, improve your balance, and keep you active. 872-5111. Our highly trained physical therapists will design a personalized plan for you to help you improve your stability, decrease risk of falling, and get you back to doing what you love. Don't let that balance issue keep you at home, or if it does, we can come to you. Call Team Physical Therapy 872-5111.
Need stocking stuffers? Geared for Sports in Broken Bow has you covered. This week they are on sale for 25% off. Some stocking stuffers include socks, water bottles, stocking caps, hats, and if you ask Scott, you never know what might fit in his stocking. Finish off your shopping with the help of Geared for Sports. Stocking stuffers 25% off. Open Monday to Friday 10 to 6, Saturday 10 to 4, and on Sundays noon to 4 through Christmas. Geared for Sports, west side of the square in Broken Bow.
Thinking about a remodel or planning a new build this year? Now's the time to get your projects on the schedule with Duda Plumbing. Scott and Colton handle full remodel plumbing, new construction installs, and professional sewer video inspections to spot issues before they become surprises. They serve Broken Bow and surrounding communities with dependable, detail-driven service, plus septic plumbing when needed. Don't wait until everyone's booked. Call Duda Plumbing today, where they do the plumbing.
Attention Nebraska farmers. At Custer Federal State Bank, we know that agriculture is more than a job, it's a way of life. That's why we're proud to offer agricultural loans tailored to your needs. Whether you're looking to expand your operations, purchase new equipment, or manage daily expenses, our experienced team is here to help. With competitive rates, personalized service, we're your partners in growth. Visit Custer Federal State Bank today, where your future grows. Custer Federal State Bank, rooted in Nebraska, growing with you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Year-end savings are at Gateway Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Broken Bow. Like a new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L, up to $6,500 off MSRP. New 2026 Chrysler Pacificas, up to $8,500 off MSRP. New 2026 Dodge Durangos, up to $6,000 off MSRP. And for year-end truck buyers, select remaining new 2025 Ram 2500 and 3500 heavy-duty pickups are now up to $11,000 off MSRP. While inventory lasts, Gateway Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Broken Bow. Shop anytime at gatewaymotors.com. Gateway Motors, where the deal is always worth the drive.
And we welcome you back to Ansley as we get ready for the opening matches of the Ansley Litchfield Quad. Now, what we'll be doing is we'll actually be wrestling off two duels at the same time. We'll just alternate as far as matchups go. So first up, it's Ansley Litchfield against Overton. South Loup will be dueling Twin Loup. So we'll kind of go back and forth between the duels as far as the matches that we get out on the mat here for you in this opening round. So again, we'll start with Ansley Litchfield against Overton. We'll start with South Loup against Twin Loup. And we look forward to bringing the action to you on KCNI Radio and on our live video stream. And as we welcome in Kirk Crowley again, we're going to start at 150 today, correct?
That is correct. And it looks like we've got Owen Brott of Ansley Litchfield wrestling Alex Gibson of Overton. And then we'll go 150, as Brent said, we'll go 150, bump over to the other duel. And then as we go through our rounds, every round will start up and we'll go 150, then 157, 165. So,
well, listen, Ansley High School is hopping today because both gyms are busy. Over in the South Gym, you have basketball that will be taking place tonight as Ansley Litchfield is hosting Axtell. So they bring the wrestling duel into the North Gymnasium. And I got to be honest, partner, I mean, this is the first time I've ever broadcast anything from this gym. I think this sets up really well to host this duel tonight.
Yeah, I think, yes, it'll be great. We're close to the action. We'll be able to see what's going on as long as we keep a clear path here, and it looks like we're about ready to get going here. Owen Brott of Ansley Litchfield, Alex Gibson of Overton. Brott takes a shot in on a high C, can't quite get to the leg. And Gibson comes around the corner. He scores the takedown. It's a 3-0 score. Keep in mind, takedowns are worth 3 to you old-timers. And when I say later in this duel that that's a takedown for 2, remember, I'm wrong. It's worth 3. Okay, here we go. We're back up to our feet, and we've got Brott. He's come up to his feet. He's come out, scored his 1 escape. So now we have a 3-1 score. Spartans in that black and white uniform. Overton in their blue and white uniform. Wrestlers right in the middle of the mat. Gibson, the guy kind of taking the ground here. Brott pawn on the head. There's a low shot by Brott down on the leg. Can't quite get to it. Good aggressive shot. Wrestlers facing out again. We're in that neutral position. We've got a 3-1 score. Just under a minute to go here in this first period. Owen Brott of Ansley Litchfield trailing 3-1.
Yeah, sorry, Coach. They made a switch on you. Caleb Aguilar is actually representing Ansley Litchfield.
Oh, okay.
And so he is wrestling Alex Gibson of Overton at the moment.
Okay. I see over on the dashboard that's what they do have. On the other, it's not that way. So Caleb Aguilar now trailing 6-1 as Gibson of Overton gets another takedown. He has 2 takedowns here. And now working for a cradle right along the out on the edge of the mat. Aguilar trying to keep that nose away from his knee. Gets back up to his table. Gibson hustles back around back. Just kind of riding the hips. We're down under the last 5 seconds, and there's the end of the first period. So Alex Gibson of Overton, with 2 takedowns, has a 6-1 lead over Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield. This is our first match of this duel. Gibson's choice, and Alex is going to go neutral. 6-1 lead as we start this second period. Alex Gibson of Overton, 150-pounder, leading Ansley Litchfield's Caleb Aguilar. Aguilar with that right-hand collar tie. Gibson peels that off his head. There's a shot by Gibson down on double leg, comes underneath, comes around, scores the 3. 3 takedowns, 3 points apiece. That's 9. 9-1 lead for Gibson, and you could see how wrestling on your feet is pretty important here, and since his takedowns have become 3 points. Now Aguilar's come up to his feet, but Gibson still has that ankle, and he returns him to the mat. Aguilar trying to come around the corner. He's got the leg, but Gibson has stayed tight on that far ankle. And Aguilar can't quite get around the corner, can't get that ankle free to move his hips. Gibson now we're trying to get the arm back. Aguilar now can get that foot posted. If he can come around the corner, walk the corner a little bit, he could score here. He's trying to square up. Aguilar, Gibson pops him back down on a hip. And now Gibson's trying to power him over. Comes with the crossface. Gibson still out to the side. Now he hustles around back. Gets back in a good safe position with 41 seconds to go here in the second period. 9-1 lead for Gibson of Overton. Trying to step through that near leg, hustles around back again. Wrestling taking place right in the middle of the mat. A lot of mat space. Gibson just kind of hovering the hips. Aguilar up on his table. Can he score out from underneath? Hasn't been able to. He's scored 1 point in the match. The problem is those 3 takedowns that Gibson has made it a 9-1 lead. There, a little wrist control. Aguilar comes out, faces out, gets the escape. So it's a 9-2 match. Now we're down to the last 3 seconds here. So we'll go to the third period. Should be Aguilar's choice. It is. Aguilar's going to take top position. He hasn't had a chance to be there. Trailing by 7. Gibson will go down with his 7-point lead. Overton wrestler gets set. Here comes Aguilar. Mounting up on that left side. Mr. Pfeiffer gets him started. Gibson steps up. Aguilar tries to come up. Almost had a body lock, but he does come, returns Gibson, but he does have a hammer. If he can get out to the side, attack the head. Okay, 2 points have been earned, and we'll see when they get awarded here. There they come. 2-point near fall for Aguilar. It's a 9-4 lead now. We're down to about a minute and a half to go in the match. Aguilar with that top position. It's paid off for him so far. He took top. He's got 2-point near fall. Set out by Gibson. He comes around. Aguilar follows him. Aguilar's kind of draped that left hand over the shoulder. We'll see there now. He hustles around. Gibson sits out, but Aguilar follows. Flattens him out. Aguilar's got to get busy here on top as we're approaching about 1:05 to go in the match. Gibson flattened out right in the middle of the match. Real estate's not the problem. Gibson sits out. Aguilar follows. Gibson's head's down on the mat a little bit. His body language kind of saying I'm a little gassed here. And now Aguilar's trying to lace a leg in, it looks like. Oh, and Gibson sits out. Aguilar comes up, body locks a little bit on him. Gets a 1 count, but that doesn't earn you any points. Down to 40 seconds now. Aguilar's got to look for something solid here to hook up. He's trailing by 5 points here. Couple quick turns, something like a cheap tilt. Gibson keeps moving underneath. He sits out, but it's one set out at a time. Big tight waist right now by Aguilar. He's just kind of sucking the life out of him. Gibson flattens out. Aguilar's got the wrist trapped underneath. You're down to the last 15 seconds. And this has been a good opening match here. Aguilar doing a nice job coming back here in the third period. But it looks to me like Gibson's going to win this. 9-4 is going to be your final score. Gibson with the win, and Overton with the first match to their side picks up 3 points for the decision win.
So Overton takes the lead in the duel against Ansley Litchfield. I'm with you, Kirk. Aguilar, I thought, did a good job of getting himself back into the match in that third period.
Yeah, his tank stayed pretty busy there, and he was working to keep in, not only in the match, but to win the match.
So we will be wrestling off 2 duels at the same time after the Ansley Litchfield Overton match. Now we'll move over to South Loop Twin Loop. And again, as we go through this, you're going to have situations where you've got both teams are open at a weight. Maybe one team has a representative, one team does not. So we'll try to keep track of that for you as it develops in front of us. Looks like Twin Loop is going to report a wrestler to the table, but I don't believe, well, I don't know. Hang on. Yeah, I think maybe South Loop's going to be reporting too.
Yeah, they may be moving somebody up. We'll see here.
Of course, that's one thing too, Kirk, with these duels. You can move guys up in weight
Absolutely.
to get them a match and to wrestle things off. So it looks like we will get a match for you here between South Loop and Twin Loop. And we'll put the focus on that now as we continue from here in Ansley. Looks like Noah Meister of Twin Loop wrestling Ryan Lords of South Loop at 150 pounds.
And they're underway, and Meister's already got the takedown, and he's put Lords to his back right in the middle of the mat. But Lords does a good job of bridging off that situation, but not until he gives up 4. So it's a quick 7-0 lead for Meister. Am I saying that right, Noah Meister?
I believe so.
Okay. Meister now kind of working for that cradle there. Lords has the leg, and he's building up. He's got a single leg here. Can he come around the corner? Lords is kind of squared up. Now he's trying to run around that corner. Meister's a little high. Lords is cracking down to a hip. Lords, if he can float those hips, keep Meister down, can get, and Meister just kind of powers and walks over the top. Lords finds himself, has to bail out of the situation. So, flurry of action here in the first minute of this match. But it's a 7-0 lead for Noah Meister. And these guys should be at 157, am I correct? What I'm looking at tells me 150, but they've got to be 57-pounders because we started at 50.
Well, this would be the first. This would be the first match of the South Loop
there
Twin
we
Loop
go.
duel. So,
hey, folks, this is my first time this year, so that's why we have Brent here. Thanks, Brent. You're
yeah,
right.
you bet.
We got 150-pounders. You're right. And Lords right now, he has a reversal. He's down on that leg. It's a 7-2 lead for Meister. Lords now down on the leg, trying to work up, trying to catch up. It looks like you're going to have a locked hand situation. Lords has locked his hands up, so they're just waiting to see if Meister can improve his spot in the situation. He's not going to be able to. However, you got a technical violation. Locked hands on Lords. One more point to Meister for the locked hands. We've got 10 seconds to go. It's an 8-2 score. Noah Meister of Twin Loup over South Loop's Ryan Lords. So Meister will get set here. He'll look to try to score a quick escape. Sits out, trying to hit a power switch. Lords is trying to crowd it. Now Meister's to his feet. Can he step over and score? He does. There's a 2 reversal, and you'll hear the horn. 2 reversal right before the horn. It's a 10-2 score, Noah Meister. So Meister right now working on a major decision for the Wolves. Choice goes to Ryan Lords of South Loop. Ryan's going to take neutral. Looking for a big takedown. Trailing by 8. And there is the takedown. Just kind of a slow motion slide by. Lords just walks around and scores it. Now Lords has got a pump handle. We'll see what he does with this. He lets the pump handle go, but he keeps the wrist underneath, trying to slip a half in. Meister's kind of on that hip. He's got to get himself squared up. And there comes Lords with a deep right-hand half. He's got the wrist on the far side. Now Lords is trying to fight that off. He's got the left foot braced out. Lords has put in a left-hand half. Now he's trying to come to this side. Again, he's got that wrist trapped. He's got a wrist and a half. Can he drive this thing over? Meister sits out now. He's in a little better position. Trying to face out. Lords trying to keep up. Meister catches the legs, a little switch action if he gets his hip slid out. Can't, but he tries to cast Lords over. Lords counters that, and now he's in pretty good shape here to either step through on a Turk or hit a cradle. We'll see what he wants to do. The nose and the knee are right next to each other. Hands are hooked up. You got a cradle coming here. Lords just needs to, and he let the cradle go. He had that pretty nicely hooked up if he'd just taken his time. Meister now stretches out, gets back to his belly. Lords is doing a tough job on top, though. It's a 10-5 score now. And Lords slides in the right-hand half and just powers Meister over.
Wow.
And that's the end of the match. Ryan Lords with that right-hand half at a wrist and a half, powers it over, gets the fall, and South Loop is on the board with 16 points with the fall.
So Ryan Lords picks up the win for South Loop, gets the win by fall after falling behind on the scoreboard. Well, that's how things can change so quickly in this sport. As Lords able to pick up the win by fall, as Kirk mentioned, that'll be worth 6 team points as South Loop takes the early lead in the duel. So we'll switch back over now to Ansley, Litchfield, and Overton. The opening match of that duel was at 150, featured Alex Gibson of Overton taking on Caleb Aguilar of Ansley, Litchfield. Gibson got the win by decision 9-4 and picked up 3 team points. Now we get ready for the second match of the Ansley, Litchfield, Overton duel here on Central Nebraska's Sports Source.
And here we go. It's Owen Broad of Ansley, Litchfield at 157. Dalton Muirhead of Overton. And there's a shot by Broad. Muirhead sprawls back. Broad comes up to his feet. Wrestler's back in the neutral position. Right-hand collar tie by Dalton Muirhead of Overton. Wrestlers head-to-head right now. Just underway here. A little slide-by action. Attempt by Muirhead. Brought now heavy on the head. Wrestlers down on their knees. Muirhead's out of bounds. Brought right on the line. Muirhead's potted up. Brought's trying to catch the leg, but he runs out of territory and will come back. Stay neutral. No score. 1:25 to go here at 157. Ansley Litchfield's Owen Brott. And no, Owen didn't wrestle the first part of that last match. Thank goodness Brent got me squared away there. I was reading it from one way, and bottom line is I had it wrong. So now we've got Owen Brott covering the head. Wrestlers down on their knees. Owen's got a front head here. There he dumps Muirhead to his hip, but Muirhead comes back up. Brott tries to come around, but Muirhead gets the left arm on the leg, and now he's trying to crowd to the legs. Can he crowd across? Can he get to that double? Can he knock Brott off of to his hip and score? Muirhead's around back, and there's the takedown for 3 for Muirhead. Little forward roll by Brott. Comes around the corner. He scores a reversal. 42 seconds to go in the first period. A lot of action here. It's a 3-2 lead for Overton's Dalton Muirhead. Brott in the top position with his reversal. He has the 2. Dalton Muirhead of Overton has the 3. Muirhead now trying to sit out, looking for a switch, but the arm's trapped. And now he's just sitting out front. Brott just follows him around. Table set there by Muirhead, brought around, riding the left side, now has some wrist control. It's got a 2-on-1 on that near side arm, riding the left side. Muirhead's hips go flat, his head's up, and here comes a little chicken tip action there. The wing in on the near side, the wrist caught underneath. We'll see if Brott's able to do anything. Time runs out. So at the end of the first period, Dalton Muirhead with the 3-point takedown, Owen Brott with the 2-point reversal. And it's going to be Muirhead's, or excuse me, I believe Brott's choice. He takes neutral. I believe Muirhead deferred, Brott chose neutral. And here we go, second period. 3-2 score. Owen Brott, Ansley Litchfield trailing by 1. There's that slide by again by Muirhead, but Brott's been able to counter that, stayed up square, and Brott's the guy kind of walking in, walks Muirhead off the mat, and you get the warning for stalling by Mr. Pfeiffer as Muirhead just kind of basically backed straight off the mat. He didn't circle to try to keep his position, and that brought on the warning for stalling. Wrestling taking place right in the middle of the mat now. You've got your collar tie by Brott. There's a little high C shot by Muirhead, but can't get to the leg. Brott now with an over-under is trying to dump Muirhead to his back, and it looks like he's going to get him there. 3 takedown, and this is pretty tight, and forget it. Owen Brott, a little short, catches it, a little over-under, little lateral drop from the knees. Owen Brott wins it by fall.
So Owen Brott gets the win by fall, and as a result picks up 6 points for Ansley Litchfield in the duel. So after 2 matches, they'll lead in the duel by a score of 6-3. That will transition us now back to the South Loop versus Twin Loop duel. As we go back to the opening match of that duel that took place at 150, Ryan Lords of South Loop got the win by fall over Noah Meister of South Loop. Or excuse me, over Meister of Twin Loop. So Lords of South Loop giving the Bobcats the early 6-0 lead in the duel as we go to their second match on the mat now.
And we're just underway, as Brent said, at 157 pounds. Jacob King of South Loop wrestling Emmett Grint of Twin Loop. Warning for stalling against South Loop's Jacob King. We're just 11 seconds into the match. Emmett Grint, the senior, takes a shot in, gets the double leg, dumps King, scores the 3-point takedown. Grint with the wrist trapped on the far side, working for that near side half, and he's awfully persistent with that. Grint out to the sides, got that left hand in, now adjusting on the half. Grint powers him over, and that's going to be your fall. In 38 seconds, winner by fall, Emmett Grint of Twin Loop over South Loop's Jacob King.
So that'll tie things up in the duel now at 6 points apiece as Grint gets the win by fall at 157. So that will transition us back over now to the Ansley Litchfield Overton duel. 2 matches have been wrestled in it so far. Alex Gibson got the win by decision over Caleb Aguilar at 150. Then Owen Brott, the win by fall over Dalton Muirhead of Overton. So as we concentrate on the Ansley Litchfield Overton duel, Overton will send out Mason Dutro at 165 pounds. He'll be unopposed there, so Dutro will pick up 6 points for Overton in the duel as Overton will now take the lead. That'll take us back over to South Loop and Twin Loop. As Twin Loop reports, South Loop will be open at the weight. So Twin Loop will get the win by forfeit and pick up 6 more team points in the duel. Kaysen Smith of Twin Loop coming out to report at 165 pounds, was unopposed, and picks up points for the Wolves. So now we go back to Ansley Litchfield and Overton, and again, this is where you're going to get into maybe some of these situations where, you know, teams that are not able to fill every weight. You might get some weights where we don't even have a match or neither team able to report. You'll have others where teams are able to report a wrestler and get a walkover. I think both Overton and Ansley Litchfield open at 175. So we go back to Twin Loop and South Loop as Twin Loop able to send out a wrestler and pick up another win by forfeit as South Loop was open at the weight class at 175. Oren Grin of Twin Loup coming out to pick up the 6 points for Twin Loup. So 190 will be next. And I think that Overton, Ansley, Litchfield both open, so we won't have a match there. Meanwhile, Twin Loup will send out a wrestler at 190. South Loup will not be able to match Blake Bodorf at 190, so Bodorf will pick up 6 points on the forfeit. And, one thing we did know on paper, Kurt, coming in, Twin Loup's got the deepest team here today.
Absolutely, yes. And well, Ansley Litchfield, for instance, they're a little short on numbers, but then now they've also got some sickness and whatnot going on, so it depletes their group pretty quickly.
So we're moving to 2:15 now, I believe, is where we're at. We'll kind of watch it here. Overton, Ansley, Litchfield, both open at the weight. Twin Loup going to report. And I'm trying to get track to update us as far as who came out and picked up the win by forfeit for Twin Loup. So they're going to get 6 more points in the duel as they are dueling South Loup. South Loup, Twin Loup, both open at 2:15. So Brent Shipwright of Twin Loup just came out at 285 and picked up the win by forfeit there for Twin Loup, now leading in the duel by a score of 30-6. So now we're going to move to 106 pounds, and you've got Ansley, Litchfield, and Overton both open. So our focus will go back to the South Loup and Twin Loup duel, and it looks like we're going to get a match coming up between the two. And we'll try to bring up and see who reports for both South Loup and Twin Loup as we get ready for action back on the mat. Again, we're live on KCNI Radio, live with our video stream as well. And let's see, I'm not sure what weight class we moved up to. We've skipped.
Right now, what I'm seeing is Noah Hyatt of South Loup at 120 and Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup. That's what I've got on my dashboard right now.
Okay.
So I think that's our match.
So we're at 120 now.
And we have Lowry with the quick takedown. Took Hyatt to his back, and then Mr. Weisendorfer's holding some points there. Nothing's been awarded yet, as Hyatt hasn't quite been able to get out of that situation. It's been close, but Lowry's just kind of been like a dog on a bone here. And there, Hyatt does a nice job, gets back to his base, but he does give up the near fall. It's a 6-0 score, Lowry leading Hyatt. Noah Hyatt of South Loup gets up to his feet, though. Now he's trying to peel hands, looking to score. Survived that situation. Lowry returns him. There's a deep left hand by Lowry, and now he's just kind of cranking that over, and Noah's in some trouble. Hyatt trying to work off his back, and you can see Mr. Weisendorfer down for getting the count in. You've got 45 seconds to go here, first period. It's a 6-0 lead for Twin Loup's Nathan Lowry, but he's got more points coming, and right now the points coming are the least of Noah Hyatt's problem. He's got to try to get off his back. He's fighting awful hard under there, but that far shoulder's getting awfully close. And he's got a while to be there, and that's going to be the end of it. With 27 seconds remaining in the first period, Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup wins by fall over South Loup's Noah Hyatt.
All right, and that was at 120 pounds. So Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup gets the win by fall. That'll make the dual score between the two, 36-6 in favor of Twin Loup. As we move our focus now back to the Overton and Ansley Litchfield duel. And it looks like we'll be getting a match coming up between the two as we focus in on Overton and Ansley Litchfield. Again, we want to say thanks to all of the great businesses who are sponsoring our coverage today on KCNI Radio and also on our live video stream, accessible through the Sandhills Express Facebook page and Sandhills Express YouTube channel. All right, wrestlers coming out on the mat. We put the focus back on Overton versus Ansley Litchfield.
And this is 126 pounds. Hayden Cantrell of Overton, Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield. Just underway here. Little duck under there by the Overton wrestler, comes around, scores the 3 near fall. Colton Clay in his table, but Cantrell reaches underneath, gets that far elbow, comes clear around front, and Hayden Cantrell's really after it. He's really been active here. He's got that far elbow caught. Looks like he's kind of looking for a cradle, comes back around. Clay's flattened out on the mat. Colton trying to just kind of catch his breath, survive this situation as Cantrell's really come out here with his hair on fire. Cantrell just now trying to work that right hand half. He's got the wrist on the far side. Clay flattened out underneath. Gets his hips up. There he goes. Colton Clay up to his base. Good job there by Colton. But Cantrell comes around. He's got that right hand underneath, trapping the elbow on the far side. Now he reaches for the far side wrist. 2-on-1 on that far arm. Colton Clay still has his hips up, though. Needs to try to get his head up. Easy for me to say I'm not there. Cantrell now controlling both wrists. We'll see if he goes to one side or the other with the half. He's got the wrist controlled with the left hand. Here comes the right hand half in by Hayden Cantrell of Overton. But Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield does a good job of fighting that off. Gets his hips up. We're down to 34 seconds remaining here in the first period. Cantrell comes back around, picks the far ankle, flattens Clay down. Clay's done a good job. Colton has of coming back up to his base. Right now he's a little flat underneath. Cantrell up on those toes, keeping a lot of pressure forward, running forward. He's got the left hand on the wrist, and now there comes in a deep right hand for Hayden Cantrell, and this is pretty deep. But credit Colton Clay, man. His right elbow is back behind his head. He gets his hips up. He gets back to his base. Good job by Colton fighting that off. Now Colton's got to his feet, and we end up going out of bounds as the whistle blows, and we're out of bounds. The end of the first period. Our score remains at 3-0. Choice is going to go to Cantrell. And it looks like Hayden Cantrell of Overton's going to go down. So he'll take his 3-0 lead down. Colton Clay waiting for Mr. Pfeiffer to get him loaded up. And here he comes. Clay on that left side. He's aboard and on. We're on our way. Sit out by Cantrell. He puts a couple of those together. Comes up to his feet. Really nice action there. Sits out, gets him switched over, comes up to his feet, faces out, scores the escape, and it's a 4-0 lead for Hayden Cantrell. Clay now tied up on the head. Cantrell the one taking the ground. Clay trying to circle in. He's out of bounds. Cantrell's just kind of pushing on him there on the out of bounds circle. See if Clay can circle inbounds. There's a little slide by action, just a little duck. Now Clay drops down on the leg, but he can't get any penetration, and Hayden Cantrell throws him by, and now he's working for the fall. Now keep in mind, we're out of bounds with Clay, but Cantrell's feet are in, and all it takes is your toenails to stay in. So this is a near fall situation, and it's a tough spot for Colton Clay. Colton's done a really good job of being able to fight out of some tough spots in this match, but this one's pretty tight, and he's got over a minute to be there. Cantrell's kind of settling him down. Clay's coming through, though, and now Clay's going to come all the way through. We end up out of bounds. There's a 4 near fall award. Cantrell gets 4 near fall. It'll extend the lead to 11-0. Again, though, Colton Clay showing some really good guts, fighting off his back, almost came out of that situation. So we come back in on a restart. Clay goes down. Cantrell runs him forward, flattens him out. Cantrell has the 11-0 lead. But even though it's an 11-0 score, you've got to kind of appreciate some of the things Colton's been able to do here for the Spartans, being able to fight off his back, showing really good grit in this match. Cantrell again back on that wrist, looking for a right hand half. Clay doing the right thing, gets his hips up, but he kind of opens up on the near side, and Cantrell takes advantage with a deep left hand half. Now, can he step through the leg and dump him? But Clay gets that half off his head. Good job by Colton. Colton back down. Now, can he get his hips up? Can he get back to his base? 15 seconds remaining here in the second period. Clay flattened out. Colton trying to build back up. Cantrell again 2-on-1, running him forward. Here comes the towel guy out. We're down to 5 seconds. And it looks like we're going to end this second period with the 11-0 lead for Hayden Cantrell. But again, you got to love the effort by Colton Clay. Fighting off his back, working out of some really tough situations. He's had a couple times in this match where he could have punted, and he didn't do that. And it looks like Colton Clay's going to take top here. He hasn't had this opportunity, so he's going to go top. See what he can do with this. Trailing by 11, needs something big. There's the sit out. There's a sit out. We did see this earlier. Cantrell had 2 sit outs, came up to his feet, switched him over, came up to his feet, scored. This time, Clay stops that action, and he's still back around. Now there's a little wing. Clay slips in a left-hand half without breaking the hips down. Cantrell tries to wing that down, step over. Colton meets the pressure. He's still on top. Cantrell tries to sit out. Nice job there by Clay. Chops in that near arm. Cantrell gets his hips up. Now Clay's looking for a home run move. He knows what the score is, and he's going to try to hook up a cradle. You got to like the action. Can't get his hands hooked, settles back around. And now we've got a stalling call underneath on Hayden Cantrell. We have 11-0. And we got a shoelace needing to be tied here, so Cantrell's taking care of that. We got a warning for stalling on Cantrell underneath. All related probably with the shoe tying situation. And here comes Cantrell back in. Again, 11-0. You don't like the score if you're Colton Clay, but man, you got to love the effort. He's come out here. He's been offensive. He's been trying to score points. And there's a sit out again by Cantrell. Sits out, comes to his feet, peel in hands. Clay tries to return him. Little standing switch there by Cantrell, catches the ankle. But Clay's still on the leg. He's still got the position as he's in on the leg. Mr. Pfeiffer showing that action with his left hand extended. Clay's your guy in control, but now he's lost the leg. Cantrell's got him down to a hip, and we'll see if Cantrell, he can keep his head up and lift those legs. He's in good position here. Clay trying to get the hips up. Cantrell's got things tied up. We may end up with a stalemate. That's just exactly what happens. We end up with a stalemate in the situation. No change. Again, good scramble situation by Colton Clay. Cantrell, he's shown that he wants to hit a sit out, try to switch him over, get to his feet. That time Clay stops the action right on the whistle. Cantrell coming up, got his hips up, his head down. And he tries to slip in that left hand on that half. A little bit early, Cantrell tries to wing it down. Colton Clay understands he's down by 11 with 20 seconds to go. He's trying a near side. He tried to do a little standing Merkel action there. He's got a near side headlock, but he's not going to be able to get him turned here, but he's working for it. Now he's looking at a crossface. Going back to the half. And it's still 11-0 score as Cantrell faces out, gets to the leg, but it's still Colton Clay's position. Now Cantrell comes up, and he's going to score the reversal right at the whistle, and the 11-0 becomes 13-0. Hayden Cantrell of Overton with the major decision over Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield.
All right, thank you, Kirk. As we kind of recap what has happened so far in the Ansley Litchfield Overton duel, we began at 150. Alex Gibson got the win over Caleb Aguilar by a 9-4 decision. Gibson of Overton picking up the win and getting 3 points. At 157, Owen Braun of Ansley Litchfield, winner by fall over Dalton Muirhead of Overton. Then Mason Dutro of Overton came out unopposed at 165 to pick up 6 points. Then both teams were open at 175, 190, 215, 285, 106, 113, and 120. And then just a moment ago, back on the mat at 126 as Hayden Cantrell of Overton gets the win over Colton Clay. Meanwhile, over on the South Loop and Twin Loop side of things, that's the other duel that is going on at this moment. South Loop able to send out a competitor unopposed at 126. That was Josiah Coleman, as Coleman gets the win by forfeit to pick up 6 points for the Bobcats. And that'll move us back over to Overton versus Ansley Litchfield, where Overton will come out unopposed and get the win. Tristan Jarman of Overton getting the win by forfeit at 132 pounds, with 2 weight classes remaining in the Ansley Litchfield and Overton duel. So now we go back over to South Loop versus Twin Loop, and it looks like 2 wrestlers are going to report to the mat. So looks like we'll get some competition for you coming up as we continue in the South Loop and Twin Loop duel. It's our opening duel of the evening here at the Ansley Litchfield Quad.
All right, this looks like it's Traven shot of Twin Loop and South Loop's Ben Linden. And these guys are 132-pounders, I believe. And we're just underway. There's a single leg, and Linden down on the leg. But Shada comes around, and he hits the double. He scores it. There's a mat return by Shada. Traven leading 3-0 here in this match. And there's Shada with the turn, and Linden's in all type of trouble there. Deep left hand, and Shada gets the turn, gets the fall. Winner by fall, Traven Shada of Twin Loup.
So with the win by fall, Shada will pick up 6 points for Twin Loup in the duel. That'll make the score 42-12 in favor of Twin Loup with 2 weight classes remaining. Now let's go back over to Overton versus Ansley Litchfield as they continue their duel here this evening. Overton will send to the table Wyatt Kyle. He'll be unopposed at 138. And Overton will pick up 6 points in the win by forfeit, as Overton will end up and win the duel there as Overton takes on Ansley Litchfield here in the opening round. Meanwhile, we'll go back to South Loup and Twin Loup. And it looks like Twin Loup will send out a wrestler unopposed. Terrence Verbas of Twin Loup gets the win at 138 pounds. He'll be unopposed there as he gets the win by forfeit, as Twin Loup securing the win in their opening duel of the evening against South Loup. So that will end up bringing us to 144 pounds, which will be the final weight class of this opening duel. And looks like Overton and Ansley Litchfield both open at 144, so we'll go back over to Twin Loup and South Loup. And Twin Loup able to send out Wyatt Faust at 144 pounds to pick up 6 points. So we have concluded the opening round here at the Ansley Litchfield quad. In the Twin Loup South Loup duel, Twin Loup ends up getting the win by a score of 54-12. Meanwhile, you go over to Ansley Litchfield versus Overton, and the winning score will end up being Overton 25, Ansley Litchfield 6 in that opening duel. So we are underway and things have started here at Ansley High School. We'll get ready for round number 2 as we continue with more wrestling coverage after this on Central Nebraska's Sports Source.
Central Nebraska Electric in Ansley is a proud supporter of this broadcast and area high school sports action. Playing hard throughout the season takes a lot of work, and Todd salutes that dedication. Any electrical work you need done right the first time deserves a free estimate from Central Nebraska Electric. Call them at 750-6458. That's Central Nebraska Electric in Ansley, sponsoring this broadcast and wishing area teams good luck this season.
This broadcast of the Twin Loup Wolves is brought to you by the Twin Loup Boosters, including Great Western Gas Company, Grint Farm Supply, Gum Auction and Realty, Hamilton Telecommunications, Hermsmeyer Agronomy, Hilltop Ranch, James and Janice Barron, Joe and Cindy Horkey, Casey and I KBBN Radio, Krause Angus Ranch, Louie's Body Shop, Marvin and Joyce Douse, and Maverick Truck Stop and Trotter Feed. Enjoy the broadcast brought to you in part by the Twin Loup Boosters.
At Muddy Creek Ag in Ansley, they love supporting the Ansley Litchfield Spartans and all that these student athletes achieve in competition and in the classroom. Pete, Ryan, Trey, and Brandy supply their customers with all feed and seed products while exceeding expectations with fair prices and service that is unmatched by the competition. They have new and used seed tenders and are your local channel seedmen. Cheering on the Spartans and bringing you this sports coverage, Muddy Creek Ag. Call 308-935-1155 for Muddy Creek Ag on Highway 2 in Ansley.
Jones Group Insurance has been serving communities in Nebraska for over 35 years as an independent insurance agency. They take pride in the knowledge, coverage, and services they can offer. So when you work with them, you can be sure you're getting the right coverage with sincere service. Jones Group is always proud to support the local communities, and their local agents are happy to help, whether it be home, auto, life, health, crop, business, and more. Visit with Seth Behrens at the Jones Group team on Main Street in Ansley.
Whether you're purchasing your first home or considering a mortgage refinance, the process can be intimidating. That's why working with someone local is a great option. Hi, I'm Morgan Fornoff, a mortgage officer at Flatwater Bank. It can be confusing when talking to a lender about a home loan. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or you've purchased in the past, I have the tools and experience to help you navigate the process. Give me a call today and experience the Flatwater Bank difference yourself.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Rocks Underground serves Central Nebraska with expertise in water and irrigation services. Need some help? Call Rocky Dockweiler at 870-3457. Rocky salutes the student athletes of the area and all the hard work they put in each and every season and is very proud of the young men and women that live in Central Nebraska. Enjoy this broadcast, brought to you in part by Rocky Dockweiler with Rocks Underground in Oconto.
Insurance of the Heartland in Ansley is a proud radio sponsor of area high school sports. The skills that students learn in athletics go beyond the playing field. These student athletes learn teamwork, work ethic, and competitiveness, just to name a few. The sports that they participate in also are a way to bring communities together. The team at Insurance of the Heartland in Ansley is happy to help bring you this broadcast to cheer on your team.
AgriBest Feeds in Callaway is your source for all ranching needs. Talk to them about their new Room and Edge lick tubs for outstanding nutrition. They also carry Powder River and Tartar livestock equipment and molasses-free Sweet Pro tubs and Redmond Trace mineral salt. AgriBest Feeds also has vet supplies and pet foods. For Christmas, consider their dry shod boots, Nebo light products, gloves, and more. And remember, Jesus is the reason for this season. Visit AgriBest Feeds in Callaway today.
And we come back to Ansley High School as we are getting ready for the second round of the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quad. 3 rounds we'll have for you tonight as we recap what happened in the opening round. Our opening duels featured Ansley Litchfield against Overton and South Loup against Twin Loup. We'll do a little recap of Ansley Litchfield and Overton. We'll just recap the matches that took place. There were 3 of them. We started at 150 pounds. Alex Gibson of Overton got the win by a 9-4 decision over Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield. That put Overton in front 3-0. Then at 157, Owen Brott of Ansley Litchfield came out and wrestled Dalton Muirhead of Overton. Brott was able to get the win by fall for the Spartans and give them 6 team points in the duel. The other match of the duel took place at 126 pounds, where Hayden Cantrell of Overton won by a major decision over Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield to pick up 4 team points. You also had Overton getting a win by forfeit at 132 and a win by forfeit at 138. So when you added it all up, Overton got the win in the duel by a score of 25-6. Meanwhile, in the duel between Twin Loup and South Loup, we'll recap the matches that happened on the map between the two. We started at 150, where Ryan Lords of South Loup got the win by fall over Noah Meister of Twin Loup to give South Loup an early 6-point lead in the duel. But Twin Loup came right back at 157 as Emmett Grint got the win by fall over Jacob King of South Loup to tie the duel up at 6-all. Then Kaysen Smith got a win by forfeit at 165. Orrin Grin of Twin Loup unopposed at 175. Blake Bodorf of Twin Loup unopposed at 190. And Brent Shipwright of Twin Loup came out, picked up 6 points by forfeit at 285. Both teams were open at 106 and 113. Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup would go up against Noah Hyatt of South Loup at 120 pounds, and Lowry of Twin Loup got the win by fall. Josiah Coleman of South Loup came out unopposed at 126 for the Bobcats to pick up 6 points. At 132 pounds, Traven Shada of Twin Loup got the win by fall over Ben Linden of South Loup in the opening minute of the match to pick up 6 points. And then Twin Loup was unopposed at 138 with Terrence Verbas getting the win by forfeit there. And then Wyatt Faust came out for Twin Loup, picked up the win by forfeit at 144. So when you added it all up, Twin Loup won the duel by a score of 54-12. Again, round number 2 is coming up next. Keep it right here on Central Nebraska's Sports Source.
The staff at South Loup Pharmacy in Callaway is proud to be a sponsor of this sports broadcast. They support all the area athletes and are pleased to be a part of the South Loup Bobcat community. Their pharmacy provides knowledge on what is best for you and your family members. Stop in and talk to them today. South Loop Pharmacy in Callaway, knowing you by name, not just a refill number.
The Callaway District Hospital, along with the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics, are proud of the South Loop Bobcats. New patients are always welcome. They understand that healthcare is evolving and are committed to providing local access to high-quality care by continuing to invest in the latest diagnostic and treatment technology. Their specialty is primary care. Callaway District Hospital and the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics cheering on the South Loop Bobcats.
A1 Auto Repair in Arnold is proud to support our local student athletes and help bring you the action when you can't be there in person. When it comes to fixing cars, the bearded guys at A1 are kind of like mechanical wizards, just with wrenches instead of magic wands. Trust them. You'd much rather they have a wrench than a magic wand. They'll have your car running smoothly and get you back on the road in no time. Stop by 110 East 7th Avenue in Arnold. Call 308-848-2542 or click A1AutoRepairInc.com.
Hamilton is connecting your world at light speed with fiber to the home internet so you can access the fastest, most reliable internet from your home or business. Hamilton is your link to high-speed internet, Cobalt TV, Wi-Fi throughout the entire home, and telephone service so you can keep connected with your friends and family. For the fastest internet speeds, reliable service, and local customer support, contact Hamilton. We are proud to support all our local athletes and teams. Good luck this season from all of us at Hamilton.
When storms bear down on your beautiful home and leave behind damage, you want it looking gorgeous again in no time at all. Custer County Exteriors is proud to serve Central Nebraska with their dedication and experience. They are local Central Nebraskans serving fellow Central Nebraskans. Their goal is for your chin to be down as little time as possible because of that storm damage. Call Nate with Custer County Exteriors, 402-641-3246. That's Custer County Exteriors at 402-641-3246.
Mills Hardware is proud to support the local athletes. From painting to tools, sporting goods to office supplies, Mills Hardware is the place to go. Always remember, if they don't have it, they will try to get it for you. They have 155 different suppliers that they work with and offer services like hunting, fishing, and park permits, key making, and more. They thank you for your continued patronage of their store. You're very important to them. Thank you from the Mills Hardware and Feed team.
Rich Runlet with Rain Dance Repair, proud to be your local connection for beehive pivot monitoring and control systems, as well as soup cup bins. Whether you're needing to get your augers up to date and bins repaired or need a new system, Rain Dance Repair can help. If you haven't heard about Beehive Smart Connected Technology, give Rich a call. He'll get you set up for monitoring and control of your pivots without subscription fees, while also saving time and money. Call Rich at Rain Dance Repair at 870-4455, your local Sioux Cup and Beehive Ag Connection.
This broadcast of the Twin Loop Wolves is brought to you by the Twin Loop Boosters, including Modern Movement LLC, Morgan Ranch, Orville's Repair, Pea Patch Greenhouse and Gifts, Prairie Thunder Game Birds, Roberts Chiropractic, Rowley and Keena Stepka, Sargent Chamber of Commerce, the Sargent Corner Market, Sargent Insurance Agency, Sargent Packing LLC, Sargent Tire LLC, Seidel Contracting Incorporated, Sheets Irrigation, and Slagle Angus. Enjoy the broadcast, brought to you in part by the Twin Loop Boosters.
And we come back to Ansley as we're ready to move into round number 2 of the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quad. Your matchups in round 2 will be South Loop against Ansley Litchfield and Overton against Twin Loop, as we'll start at 157 pounds. This sports broadcast being brought to you by Fort County Heating and Air. Owners Brian and Austin serve the area with more than 20 years of combined experience in the industry. Call for a free estimate and timely service. Fort County Heating and Air in Broken Bow. Call 308-872-2258. All right, we have South Loop and Ansley Litchfield on the mat. And to call it for you, here's Kirk.
And we have Owen Brott and Jacob King. King of South Loop, Broad of Ansley Litchfield. These guys are 157-pounders. We are underway. We go out of bounds. We'll come back on a restart here. No score at this 157-pound weight class. There, Broad shoots in. King's caught the arm, but Broad just keeps powering in with those hips. and scores the takedown. It's a 3-0 lead. Brott's tucked in that far elbow of King's, and King's hips flip, and Brott now has come up, caught the head. King in all kinds of trouble here. Brott perpendicular to him, and there's the fall. So Brott with the quick pin gives Ansley Litchfield the quick team lead, 6-0.
Second win by fall we've seen from Owen here today for Ansley Litchfield. So that'll move us into our other duel of round 2, and this will feature Overton against Twin Loup. And it looks like we will get a match to get us started in the Twin Loup and Overton duel as we start at 157 pounds.
And it looks like we've got Meister representing Twin Loup. Good things to catch up here.
And Alex Gibson of Overton will be his opponent.
Thank you. Gibson of Overton. We're underway. And right now, Meister taking the position, but there, you see Gibson of Overton dropping in, getting underneath those arms, drops in on double leg, but he can't finish it. Now he's trying to hustle around. Meister squares back up. So no score here. We're about 30 seconds into it. Noah gets up on the head. Gibson wipes that off. Wrestler's now tied up head to head. Gibson breaks free. Is back to the out of bounds. Now they were back to the middle. Overton wrestler taking the ground. Noah Meister of Twin Loup gets snapped down. And Gibson comes around. Overton wrestler gets a takedown. But there's a set out by Meister. He comes up to his feet, scores the one. It's a 3-1 lead. Gibson of Overton leading. Gibson now with collar tie. Meister kind of wading in. He's trailing by 2. The Twin Loup Wolf could take a lead here with the takedown. 48 seconds remaining here in the first period. There's a good double leg. Nice level change by Meister. Gets in on the legs. He scores the 3. Or excuse me, Gibson. Gibson scores the 3. It's a 6-1 lead. Gibson of Overton with the lead. Meister comes up to his feet. There's a mat return by Gibson. 24 seconds remaining. Noah Meister of Twin Loup trying to work up, trying to sit out. Can he slide his hip out, get his hips up? You can see Gibson crowding the hips, counters that, does a good job of countering it, doesn't give up the points. Score remains 6-1. Alex Gibson of Overton here at 157 pounds with the lead. Here comes Noah Meister, Twin Loup wrestler coming to his feet, tries to hit a standing switch. He scores 1 right at the buzzer. Good 1-point escape for Noah. And he now cuts that lead down to a 6-2 lead for Gibson. Looks like choice is Alex's. And the Overton wrestler takes neutral. Why not? You've got 2 takedowns in the match. Looking for a third one. Started the second period. There's that double leg again by Gibson. And he gets in on right at the knees, cracks the knees. Now can he work up? Meister bails out not to give up back points there, and there's 3 more awarded. 9-1 lead now for Alex. Overton wrestler with the 9-2 lead, 9-2 lead. Meister of Twin Loup pods up, looking to score off the bottom. Mat return by Gibson. He's got a cradle hooked up, but a nice counter. Meister did a good job there. He kept his head up, pressured in, got the toe, came around, scored a reversal. 9-4 is the lead now, but you could see now Gibson has come around front. He's covering the head. Can he get around and keep people in bounds so he can get his reversal? He hasn't quite got there yet. And here it is. There's the 2-point award. Gibson gets a 2-point award. He now leads 11-4, and he's got a cradle hooked up. Meister in some trouble here right along the edge. Gibson with the hands locked. They broke momentarily, but he got right back to it. Can he elevate it? He's kind of tied up on the legs, and Meister survives the situation. He pods, trailing 11-4 here. Meister potted up, turns in hard. Pressure met there by Gibson, and we're about ready to go off the mat. Gibson keeps his top position. Clock keeps ticking away. Score remains at 11-4 lead for the Overton wrestler. Meister gets to his feet again. There's a little scrub heel by Gibson, but we end up out of bounds. So we'll come back in on a restart with 21 seconds to go. Noah Meister of Twin Loup looking to score off the bottom. Looks like we may have a little blood timeout here. Wrestlers need to get cleaned up. So we got a little break in the action with 11-4 lead for Alex Gibson.
Well, if you're looking for amazing deals on clothing, shoes, purses, and accessories, we encourage you to check out Exchange 2 in Broken Bow. You'll find styles of all kinds, and they've got something for everyone at prices you won't believe. Update and refresh your wardrobe without breaking the bank. Stop by Exchange 2 and find your next treasure. They are proud supporters of our area student athletes. We're in round 2 of the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quad. Round 2 featuring duels between Twin Loup and Overton and between South Loup and Ansley Litchfield. Again, we want to say thanks to all of the sponsors who are bringing you today's coverage. We're live on KCNI, 1280 AM and 96.3 FM. Brent Apperson, Kurt Crawley with you behind the microphone. Jack Simpson with us behind the camera as we're live with our video stream as well through sandhillsexpress.com.
And we're back underway here. Noah Meister of Twin Loup trailing in this match. He's in the bottom position. He pods up again. Can he score here in the last 10 seconds of the second period? Turns in. But you see the Overton wrestler kind of felt that. Just let him kind of slide to a hip, and now he's trying to work his way up. Alex Gibson working up the rope, and there's the end of the period. Score remains at 11-4 lead for Alex Gibson of Overton. So we're going to be in the neutral position as we start this third period. This has been the tough spot for Noah Meister. Noah hasn't been able to get a takedown. He's been taken down, and there's that double leg again by Alex Gibson of Overton. Gibson has really done a good job with that. He's been able to get to it 3 times in the match. It looks like he's going to score it again, and he does. 14-4 is your lead. Gibson working on that major decision now. 8 to 14 point spread gets you an extra team point, and right now he's got that. Tries to slide in the right hand half. There's a cross face to just introduce yourself in case you didn't know I was here. Tucks in the far elbow, now comes around on a far side cradle. We'll see if Meister can fight this off. Gibson comes around, sits it back, and now he's going to score off of it. Hips are elevated. Can you settle him? Can you adjust the hips away and get those shoulders settled? Meister trying to break it, and he does. Okay, you have a 4-point award. It's 18-4. Now you're thinking tech fall if you're Gibson. Meister pods up. It's a 14-point spread. A tech fall is a 15-point spread. Crossface there by Gibson. Meister comes around, settles up into his table. There's another crossface. Meister's got his head down, his hips up there. Noah gets himself potted. Gibson chops in the arm, brings him back down to the mat. Meister trying to get his ears up off the mat. His hips are up. There comes a right hand half on the near side. Meister reaches up, pulls that off, tries to pod back up, and you can see that now the tank of both these guys were early in the season. They're getting a little low. Here comes that cradle again. Gibson comes around, sits it, and if he could score back, so that'll put a tech fall here. Meister tries to counter it. Can't get out of the hold, but he does, and there's the 1-point escape. Good job by Meister. But here comes the double leg. He'll trade 1 for the 3 if Gibson can finish this. And he does, and the 3 gives him the tech fall, as that'll make your score 21-5. Tech fall win for Alex Gibson of Overton over Twin Loup's Noah Meister.
Second win of the night for Alex Gibson of Overton. Gets the win by tech fall in the duel between Overton and Twin Loup. Again, we're in round 2 of the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quad. Our other duel of this round featuring Ansley Litchfield against South Loup. And as we get ready to go back over to that matchup, we'll recap what happened in the opening match of that duel as Owen Broad of Ansley Litchfield got the win by fall over Jacob King of South Loup. So Ansley Litchfield after one match leading 6-0 as they get ready to move to 165 pounds. Again, round 2, we start at 157 as some mat cleanup taking place right now. That gives us a chance to say thanks to our friends at Klang Financial, who are honored to help with any of your health and life insurance questions, as well as any retirement planning needs you may have. Reach them at 872-6810. Klang Financial, downtown Broken Bow at 940 South D Street. So South Loup able to send Paxton Bierman out at 165 pounds. He'll be unopposed there, so Bierman will come out, pick up 6 points for South Loup. As we go back now to the Twin Loup and Overton duel, and they will send out a wrestler who will be unopposed. We're talking of Twin Loup now, as they will send out Kaysen Smith at 165. He'll get the win by forfeit there. So now we'll switch back over to Ansley Litchfield versus South Loup. I think they're both open at 175. So that brings us back over to Overton against Twin Loup, as we will have 2 wrestlers report to the table, and we'll get ready to have action for you out on the mat as we go back to the duel now between Twin Loup and Overton. Mason Dutro of Overton wrestling Orrin Grint of Twin Loup at 175 pounds.
This has the makings of a pretty good match here. Dutro and Grint, 175 pounders. And right now we're just underway, 20 seconds into the match. Wrestlers in that neutral position. Nobody's really taken a chance on a shot yet. As you get up into these upper weights, you got to kind of calculate things out a little bit. You don't want to get stuck underneath somebody here. There you can see a feint shot by Grint. Now he comes in on a shot. Double leg shot, head in between. Tries to come up between the legs. Dutro trying to counter. Tries to get down to the ankle. He's got to the leg, but Grint slides out. Grint tries to step to the near side leg. He gets it hooked, and there comes the 3-point for red, and that's Owen Grint. Owen takes a 3-0 lead at about a minute to go here in the first period. So Owen Grint of Twin Loup with the 3-0 lead on the takedown. He's got Mason Dutro of Overton flattened out here right in the middle of the mat. Dutro trying to come to his feet. He does. He comes out, faces, gets the 1. 3-1 is your point deficit. It's Grint with the lead. 40 seconds to go here in the first period. Grint right in the middle of the mat. Heavy on the head here. Little feint shot, just what he did last time. A little feint shot came back in, got to the legs, scores 3 more. So Grint, 6 points on the power of those 2 takedowns. Mason Dutro flattened out right in the middle of the mat, gets his hips up. There's a 2-on-1. Grint now comes up and controls the wrist, comes up with the left-hand half. We're down to about 8 seconds to go in the period. Grint been good on his feet, been able to get to the legs, been able to score 6 points. Wrist and a half, and there's your period. It's a 6-1 lead on the strength of those 2 takedowns by Orrin Grint, excuse me. So it looks like Dutro's choice, and he's going to go down. Mason's going to go down. The Overton wrestler gets himself set. Orrin comes around on the left side. Mr. Pfeiffer motions him on. Here we go. Dutro sits out. Grint follows him up. Grint controlling that wrist underneath. He's got the wrist trapped, and now you can see Dutro trying to free that wrist, able to do so. He's up on his table, but then Grint comes around with the left half, hops on the side of the half. Pretty tight here with the half. He's got the wrist on the far side. Grint's got the leg in. Now he's slipped it out. Now he tries to stretch Dutro, tries to stretch him across his lap. Dutro doing a good job of fighting that off and gets the half off his head. Tries to sit out. Grint catches the arm. Grint now right and tough on that right-hand side. Grint with the 6-1 lead. Minute 19 to go. Grint with the right-hand half, and he just powers Dutro over. Dutro tries to hop through, but Grint meets the pressure, and there's your fall. Orrin Grint of Twin Loup with the winner by fall over Mason Dutro of Overton.
So after 3 weight classes, Twin Loup now will take the lead in the duel by a score of 12-5 as Orrin Grint gets the win by fall over Mason Dutro of Overton. Again, the other duel going on here in this round, featuring Ansley Litchfield against South Loup, and I think both are open at the next weight class in the South Loup and Ansley Litchfield duel, so that's going to bring us back over to Overton against Twin Loup. And it looks like Twin Loup will be able to send out Blake Bondorf at 190 pounds. He'll be unopposed, and he'll pick up the win by forfeit. to secure 6 more points for Twin Loup. Ansley, Litchfield, and Overton, I believe, both open at 2:15. So that will bring us back over to Twin Loup versus Overton. And we'll see if anybody reports at 2:15. I think they're going to be double open at 2:15 in the Overton and Twin Loup duel. Open at 2:85 were Ansley, Litchfield, and South Loup. So that brings us back over to Twin Loup against Overton. And Twin Loup will be able to send out Brent Shipwright at 285 pounds. He'll be unopposed by the Overton wrestling team. So Shipwright picks up 6 points in the win by forfeit. And now we'll come back to some of the smaller guys now as we go back to 106. But I don't know if we'll see any matchups until we get closer to 120. That was kind of the way we saw it happen in round 1 with these 4 teams. So I think Overton, Twin Loup both open at 106. I think they're both open at 113 as well. And I think you might have the same situation in the other duel as well. So now we're going back over to Ansley, Litchfield versus South Loup. And it looks like we'll get a match now between the Bobcats and the Spartans. And so we're going to go to 120, I think, is where we're at, Kurt?
Yes.
All right.
Looks like Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield and Josiah Coleman of South Loup. They're out on the mat now, 120-pounders. Coleman trying to come by on a little slide-by action. But he's kind of dropped down to a hip, and you can see he's trying to scramble his hips up, but Clay's got that elbow caught. If he could slide the right arm through, but he can't, and Coleman's doing a good job of scrambling his hips up. And he gets the leg in, and he gets the 3-point takedown. That was a nice job of both wrestlers. Really good job of Josiah, not panicking, just kind of scrambling those hips up, spurring in, getting his 3 near fall. Now he's working on top with the legs in. Sticks that right hand half in, not able to get a turn. Controls the near side arm. Colton Clay up to his base. We're right along the edge of the mat, and Clay reaches back for a headlock. Coleman still has his knees, however. There, Coleman drops down to a hip. Now he squares his hips up, but Clay's reached back. He's got the headlock. He hasn't got a reversal yet, but he's got Coleman in a little trouble. If Coleman's hips flip, there he's able to roll through, and we end up out of bounds. So Colton Clay reached back for that headlock. He didn't think he had much of a chance, but he did get Coleman down on a hip. Made things kind of interesting there. Bottom line, no score. It's still 3-0 Coleman on a restart. Coleman in the top position with his 3-0 lead. 40 seconds to go here in the first period. Coleman now riding the right side. We're right in the middle of the mat, controlling the near side wrist. Colton Clay trying to get his head up underneath. Now here comes a 3/4 stack. And Clay does the right thing. He flattens his hips out, keeps his head up. Coleman comes back around. Good job there by Clay, understanding the situation. Coleman drops over on the left side now. Now he picks up the hammer. He's got that left wrist tied up on the back. Takes a peek at the clock, sees there's 10 seconds, threads it. Can he score near fall points here? Comes around. He's going to have to hustle here to score these near fall right at the mid. Oh, lifts the head of Clay. But Colton, again, does a great job of not giving up any back points. That was tight. Both guys did a good job there. Coleman lifted the head, elevated it, wasn't able to get the near fall. Bottom line, it's 3-0 at the end of the first period, and Josiah Coleman's going to take neutral in the second. So good match here. Both guys fighting hard. We're back in that neutral position. Clay trying to tie the wrists up of Coleman. Coleman now comes up, paws on the head. Drops down on one knee. There he comes in on a little outside single shot. He's got the leg. He's got both hands on it. He's lifted it. You've got a whizzer in by Clay, but now Coleman's come up. He's come up onto a body lock. Can he get a lift? He does. There's a 3-point takedown by Josiah. Good job by Josiah Coleman there. Came up on the body lock, got a good hip thrust in, scored the the takedown. 6-0 is your score. Coleman of South Loup with the lead. Wrist caught on the far side now. There comes your hammer again. Coleman's got that left arm on the back. He posts it, comes up, attacks the head. Clay tries to roll through. He's just about through. He's going to give up near falls here. Doesn't want to come back this way, though, or he's going to give up more than near falls. And that he comes back. Coleman adjusts. He tees out. It's a deep, deep half, and Coleman's just doing the right thing, settling him down nice and easy. Clay putting up a good fight, but this just keeps getting a little tighter, a little tighter. Coleman adjusting now, comes around front, and there's the fall. Josiah Coleman, winner by fall at 120 pounds for the South Loop Bobcats.
Been a great season for Josiah Coleman of South Loop. He's medaled at many of the meets that South Loop has competed in here in the month of December, and he gets the win by fall here in the duel against Ansley Litchfield as he picks up 6 points for the Bobcats in their duel. Again, we're in round 2 of the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quad. Our duels in this round featuring Ansley Litchfield against South Loop. And as we go to 126 pounds, you've got South Loop now leading Ansley Litchfield by a score of 12-6. Meanwhile, in the other duel between Twin Loup and Overton, Twin Loup able to send out a competitor unopposed, pick up 6 more points in their duel. Nathan Lowry came out at 120 for Twin Loup, was unopposed. So now as we go back to South Loop against Ansley Litchfield, South Loop able to fill a weight class as Noah Hyatt comes out at 126, gets 6 points for the win by forfeit there. So now we go back over to Overton against Twin Loup in their duel, and this time it's Overton who sends out a wrestler unopposed, as Hayden Cantrell will get the win by forfeit at 126 pounds. Now you go back over to Ansley Litchfield against South Loop, and South Loop is able to report at the next weight class and pick up a win by forfeit. So South Loop able to add more points to their total as Ben Linden comes out for the Bobcats, picks up the win by forfeit at 132 pounds. So now we're going to put the focus back on the Overton versus Twin Loup duel as we get ready for the next matchup there. Both teams able to report to the table as we are just about ready to go with more wrestling action. We'll put the focus now on the duel between Overton and Twin Loup.
Just trying to catch a name here on these two guys.
Well, I know it's Traven Shada for Twin Loup, and Tristan Jarman of Overton will be his opponent.
Thank you. Traven in quickly on a takedown. He's got the takedown, and now Traven, man, he's got a left-hand half, and he's got the wrist on the far side. And Jarman is in all kinds of trouble here. And Shada, just if he can stretch him a little, that's what he's trying to do, stretch him and turn him. Left-hand half in, really deep by Shada. He leads 3-0 on the takedown, but right now he's more interested in getting the fall. Jarman's done a good job of keeping his table, reaches up and peels off that half, but Shada, persistent, I guess would be the word you'd use, slides that left-hand half right back in there. He's got the wrist trapped. Jarman does a good job, again, of getting it off his head. Jarman hasn't gone flat here. He's been able to stay up on his table, but Shada keeps trying to stretch him across his lap, stretch him, and Jarman still stays up on his table. 50 seconds remaining here. It's a 5-0 lead for Traven Shada of Twin Loup. We're wrestling here at 132 pounds. Jarman got his ear down on the mat, and Shada's never let go of that right wrist. Still got the half in. 30 seconds to go here in the first period. Jarman just cannot get that thing off. When he does, Shada slides it right back in. It's in pretty deep now, and now Shada's adjusting, and now he's scoring points. Jarman's fought this a long time, but he's in a bad position now. And there's the fall with just 14 seconds remaining in the first period. Your winner by fall, Traven Shada of Twin Loup.
Traven's been tough today for Twin Loup. Picks up the win by fall at 132 pounds. With the win, your score in the duel now, Twin Loup 36, Overton 11 with 3 weight classes remaining. So that'll bring us back over to Ansley Litchfield versus South Loop. And they're calling out 138 to see if anybody reports. I don't think anyone will report in the South Loop Ansley Litchfield duel at that weight. Looks like Twin Loup will send a wrestler to the table, as picking up the win by forfeit will be Verbus of Twin Loup. So 6 more points for the Wolves as they pick up the win by forfeit at 138. That would move us next to 144 pounds as we go back to the duel between South Loup and Ansley Litchfield. And it looks like we'll be able to get a match coming out to the mat to call for you. So our focus goes back to the duel between Ansley Litchfield and South Loup. Your match will feature Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield against Ryan Lords of South Loup.
And they are underway here at 144 pounds. Aguilar tries a little feint shot. Lord's able to square up. Lord's controlling the elbow. Aguilar squares back up. And there's a little shot by Lords. Can't get to the leg. And right now, Aguilar's covered the head on a little front head action. Lords goes back in underneath. Gets a little outside fire action. If he can pull the chain down with the arm, get to the leg, but he can't. Aguilar now is trying to come around. We'll see if Lords tries to drag out of this situation, create a little distance with his right leg, drag it through. But he can, and now Aguilar's come up, looking for a little cradle action, and there's a three takedown for Aguilar. Lords in kind of a tough spot. We're right along the out of bounds, and wow, Lords gets his hips up, gets to the leg, and we're going to go back into center with Lords in the bottom position and Aguilar with the takedown and a 3-0 lead. So Lords gets himself set. Mr. Weisendorfer signals for Caleb to get on. Aguilar's aboard, and here we go. 55 seconds remaining here in the first period. There's a sit out by Lords. Aguilar's followed him around. Lords is sat out. He's kind of just sitting. Aguilar's just floating around back. Tries to chop in the arm, and there Lords goes flat on his chest. Now I have to work to get back to his base. Got a 2-on-1 action here by Aguilar, riding the left side. Now Aguilar's trying to work in a little tipper action. He's got the wrist caught underneath, trying to work in a wing on the left side, and he's got it in there. He's got the wrist caught. Is he going to try to run the head? Now he's got a chance to get it. He's flattened Lords down. He doesn't have to worry about Lords sitting up if he tests him a little bit. But the wrist is broken off underneath. But Aguilar keeps the wing in. Can he keep the hammer? He's trying to fish for that wrist. Wrist is right there if he can just reach it. He can't quite get to it. Lords is doing a good job of keeping that away from him. And now the left-hand hand's coming up, and there comes the right-hand half. But that's the end of the period. So a lot of action here in the first period. Bottom line, Caleb Aguilar with a 3-0 lead over Ryan Lords of South Loup. Good action here in the first period. Aguilar's choice, he's going to defer. Ryan is going to go neutral. So Lords is going to try to even out this takedown situation and tie things up. We're at the beginning of the second period. Aguilar reaches up, and there comes Lords in on the leg. It's a little long. Can't quite get to it, can't get his hands locked, and Aguilar now stepping around trying to score. Lords has kind of dropped to that hip. Aguilar could hook up a cradle if I get the words out. There he does. And this is kind of a tough situation. Now Aguilar, if he can float back across, we'll see what happens here. He's scoring back points, and now he's settling him down from this position. Lords gets out of it, faces, scores 1, but not until he gives up 4. Bottom line, should be 10-1. There we go, 10-1 score. 10-1 score, Aguilar leading. And here comes around. Lords took kind of a long-distance shot. Aguilar put his head to the mat, came around and scored. But you're going to get locked hands on Aguilar, but not until he scores the 3. So we've got a 13-2 score. Lords will be in the bottom position with the 2. Aguilar on top with the 3 3 takedown. Can you tell it's my first week too, folks? All right, here we go. Aguilar riding that left side. He chops in the arm. There's the wing. Now he's trying to pressure that over. Can he attack the head, get the turn, and adjust? Aguilar's got Lords in all kinds of trouble here. Settling him down, and there's your fall. Caleb Aguilar secures the fall over Ryan Lords of South Loup.
So 6 points for Ansley Litchfield in the dual score, and that'll make it 24-12 now in favor of South Loup with one weight class remaining. But I think that they might both be open when we get to 150. We'll wait and see. Right now the score in the dual, South Loup 24, Ansley Litchfield 12. So we'll go back over to Twin Loup against Overton, the other duel of this round. And it looks like Twin Loup will send out Wyatt Faust at 144 pounds, pick up the win by forfeit there. So we got one weight class remaining in this round. That's at 150. I think South Loup and Ansley Litchfield are both open. And let's see. Yeah, I think we're going to get a match here in the Twin Loup Overton duel to conclude things here in round number 2. So the weight class will be 150 pounds. Twin Loup has already secured the win in the duel with the score being 48-11. But we're going to get one more match in the duel as we put the focus on 150 pounds. As coming out for Twin Loup will be Emmett Grint. He'll be opposed by Dalton Muirhead of Overton.
And Grant quickly in on a double leg. He gets that. He leads it's 3-0, so within the first 10 seconds, Grant takes that lead. Riding along the left side here. Muirhead flattened out on the mat. Emmett Grint of Twin Loup riding tough on top. He's got the lead with a quick takedown. Right now, Dalton Muirhead's got to try to work to get his base. It's flattened out underneath. Grant tying up that inside arm. There, Muirhead gets his hips up. He's got his head up. Now can he score from there? Grant spirals him a little bit, brings him flattened back out. Emmett able to get the hammer on, and he's got that wrist posted clear across the back. It's almost posted to the mat. Trying to work for the thread. Muirhead fights that off. Grant keeps the wrist, however. Trying to work some options off that, trying to post the wrist. Can he come around and attack the head? Muirhead just kind of staying flat underneath, but Grint just forces him over there, powers him over, and now attacks the head. And Emmett Grint in good position here. A lot of time, a lot of real estate, and that's the end of the match as Emmett Grint secures the fall, and the Twin Loup Wolves pick up another 6 points on the team score.
So Twin Loup secures the win in the duel, as the final score will be 54-11 in favor of Twin Loup. The other duel of round 2 goes to South Loup, winning by a score of 24-12 over Ansley Litchfield. So there's one round remaining. Your matchups will be Ansley Litchfield against Twin Loup and Overton against South Loup. And we'll continue with more from here in Ansley after these words.
When we unlock the doors and turn on the lights at the grocery cart, we're excited to serve you with a smile and helpfulness that can't be matched. Our staff is happy to help bring you this sports broadcast. It's our mission to offer you great prices in a store that is clean, organized, and convenient. Connect with us online at gkbrokenbow.com or come by and shop 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. East Highway to Broken Bow.
When the big game day arrives, you need a vehicle you can count on. Trotter Service has you covered. Offering full-service auto repair, tire sales, oil changes, and more, Trotter Service is your trusted hometown shop for reliable vehicle care. Whether you're heading to the game or driving every day, their expert team keeps your ride running strong. Schedule an appointment at trotterstirepros.com or call 872-6801. Your hometown automotive repair and tire store, Trotter Service.
Configuring the Bluetooth, deciding who controls the music, remembering where you parked. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with an auto owner's insurance independent agent, getting the right coverage for your vehicle doesn't have to be one of them. So you can get back to more important things, like remembering if you're on the 3rd or 4th level of the parking garage. That's simple human sense.
Hi, this is Nate Bell with High Street Insurance and Financial Services in Broken Bow. See us online at hsip.com. See possible.
Don't let ice have you and your customers slipping and sliding about. Pick up commercial strength Thaw Master Ice Melt at Arrow Seed in Broken Bow. Designed with optimal melting speed and performance, Thaw Master is long-lasting and can stand up to the frigid Nebraska temperatures because it melts up to 10 degrees below zero. It's even dyed green for easy application and high visibility. The best part? It's highly effective and affordable. Pick up your 50-pound bag at Arrow Seed in Broken Bow.
Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
This is Stuart Fox of Nebraska State Bank. We'd like to sincerely thank our customers for their support and business this past year. We look forward to serving you and Custer County for many years to come. From the NSB family to yours, we hope you have a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Nebraska State Bank and Trust Company, member FDIC.
Injured on the field or court, whether it's a torn ligament, muscle strain, shoulder injury, knee injury, or joint pain, Melham's orthopedic specialists are here to help you recover and return to doing what you love. Melham Medical Center provides treatment plans, surgical, and clinical services. Don't let an injury keep you sidelined this sports season. Contact them today and get back to peak performance. Melham Medical Center would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a joyous New Year. Melham Medical Center, large enough to serve, small enough to care.
From fields in Nebraska to projects around the world, Sargent Irrigation's roots run deep in the heartland. They believe in hard work, strong teams, and supporting the communities they serve. That's why they're proud to help deliver every thrilling moment of high school and Husker sports right to your radio. Even if you can't be there in person, you won't miss a play. This broadcast is made possible in part by Sargent Irrigation in Broken Bow, where hometown pride goes the distance.
Now we come back to Ansley High School. We're set up in the North Gymnasium here at Ansley High for the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quadrangular. As we just wrapped up action in round number 2, the matchups featured South Loup against Ansley Litchfield and Twin Loup against Overton. Let's recap the duel between Twin Loup and Overton. Twin Loup gets the win by a final score of 54-11. And as we recap some of the action that took place, we started at 157 pounds, where Alex Gibson of Overton won by tech fall over Noah Meister of Twin Loup to pick up 5 team points. Then Kaysen Smith of Twin Loup came out unopposed to get the win by forfeit at 165. We had a matchup at 175 where Orrin Grint of Twin Loup won by fall against Mason Dutro of Overton. At 190 pounds, Blake Bodorf got the win by forfeit. Both teams were open at 215. At 285, Brent Shipwright of Twin Loup came out to get the win by forfeit. Then both teams were open at both 106 and 113 pounds. At 120, Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup came out to get the win by forfeit. At 126, Hayden Cantrell of Overton came out to get the win by forfeit. The next matchup that we had occurred at 132 pounds, where Traven Shada of Twin Loup got the win by fall over Tristan Jarman of Overton. That a win by fall at 132 pounds. At 138, Terrence Verbas of Twin Loup came out to get the win by forfeit. Wyatt Faust of Twin Loup was unopposed at 144. And then we had a matchup at 150 to conclude the duel, where Emmett Grin of Twin Loup won by fall against Overton's Dalton Muirhead, as Twin Loup picked up the win in the duel by a final score of 54-11. So Twin Loup off to a 2-0 start. Of course, Twin Loup coming in, we knew that they were the deepest team. They're the team that's been able to fill the most weights, and it has certainly served them well here in dual competition tonight, as earlier this evening they defeated South Loup 54-12 in round 1. All right, let's go back over now to the Ansley Litchfield and South Loup duel. That was the other duel in round 2 as we recap the action there. Owen Brott of Ansley Litchfield got the win by fall over Jacob King of South Loup at 157 pounds. Paxton Bierman of South Loup came out unopposed at 165. Both teams were open at the following weights: 175, 190, 215, 285, 106, and 113. The next matchup that we got occurred at 120, where Josiah Coleman of South Loup got the win by fall over Ansley Litchfield's Colton Clay. Noah Hyatt of South Loup came out, got the win by forfeit at 126. Ben Linden of South Loup able to come out and get the win by forfeit at 132. Both teams were open at 138. The final match of the duel occurred at 144 pounds, where Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield got the win by fall over Ryan Lords of South Loup. and then both teams were open at 150 to conclude the duel. Your final score, South Loup 24, Ansley Litchfield 12. Our third round and final round of competition here at the Ansley Litchfield Quad will feature Ansley Litchfield against Twin Loup and Overton against South Loup. Round 3 will be coming up on Central Nebraska's Sports Source.
Nebraska Owners Insurance Agency is proud to stand behind our athletes, both local student athletes and the Huskers. With offices in Callaway and Broken Bow and locations across the state, they provide coverage for every season of life, home, auto, farm, crop, or business. Their independent agents work with more than 100 carriers to find the right fit for you. In Nebraska, by Nebraskans, for Nebraskans. Nebraska Owners Insurance Agency, protecting what matters most.
The team at Taylor Heating and Cooling are big fans of our area student athletes and are proud to help bring you their accomplishments on the radio. Just like these bright students keep a cool head in the heat of competition, Taylor Heating and Cooling is ready to help keep you cool with their services. If the season calls for heat, they're ready with repair and new install expertise there as well. Financing is available because sweating or shivering in your home needs fixed now, not later. Call Taylor Heating and Cooling at 308-872-6196 or visit TaylorHeatingandCoolingBB.com.
Great athletes play with grit, heart, and integrity. At Palmer Monument in Broken Bow, those same qualities guide everything they do. Just as athletes push through the challenges to reach victory, Palmer Monument's team works with dedication to design meaningful, lasting memorials for your loved ones, crafted with pride and built to stand the test of time. They're committed to honoring every life with care and respect. Palmer Monument, designed with pride, sold with integrity, and always giving their very best, just like the athletes.
After the final whistle blows, the hard work doesn't stop, and neither does Agland ATV. Supplying top quality ATVs, UTVs, parts, and accessories, Agland ATV in Broken Bow supports local athletes and families who know the value of dedication, both in and out of competition. Whether it's trail riding or farm work, Polaris machines help you power through every challenge with strength and endurance. Best of luck to all the athletes from Agland ATV, West Highway 2, Broken Bow.
Rod's Body and Paint on the curve west of Broken Bow, offering reliable auto body repair and paint services that you can count on. From ding removals to complete collision restoration and color-accurate paint jobs, their team delivers with affordable prices, free estimates, and the skill you're seeking. Customer satisfaction is their goal every single time. Get your vehicle looking its best. Call Rod's Body and Paint at 308-872-5346 today.
Life is loud, chaotic, hilarious, and occasionally peaceful. Your life fits you, so why settle for life insurance that fits someone else? At Shelter Insurance, our local agents help you design a personal protection plan backed by award-winning customer service. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Brought to you by Shelter Insurance. See Brent Custer for a free personal protection review.
Broken Bow Dental is proud to cheer on the area student athletes. At their location on Highway 2 in Broken Bow, their state-of-the-art clinic blends cutting-edge dental care with a warm, personalized approach. Because a confident smile supports success in and out of the game. From routine family dentistry to emergency treatment, they have you covered. Call 308-767-2002 to schedule an appointment at Broken Bow Dental. Be brilliant. Be bold.
Central Nebraska Diesel, your full-service Renke dealer, wishes all of the area student athletes and the Huskers a winning season. With Renke, you are always the winner. Call Central Nebraska Diesel to find out how a new Renke irrigation system can help score more points in your farming operation. Best of luck to all of the area student athletes, and go Big Red in competition and in the classroom. From Central Nebraska Diesel, your local irrigation experts.
Back to Ansley as we are getting ready for the final round of competition here at the Ansley Litchfield Wrestling Quad. Our final round of duels will feature Ansley Litchfield against Twin Loup, and Overton will take on South Loup. As we get ready for the final round, want to once again say thanks to all of the great businesses who have been sponsoring our coverage tonight. We're live on the radio, but we're also live with our video stream as well, and we say thanks to those sponsors who today include BD, Grocery Cart, Nebraska State Bank, Agland ATV, Palmer Monument, Insurance of the Heartland, H&R Block, Colligan, Meat Lumber of Broken Bow, Callaway District Hospital with the Arnold and Callaway Medical Clinics, Lyons Appliance, the Garden Center, Downey Drilling, Callaway Market, Power Solutions, and Muddy Creek Ag. Brent Apperson joined again by Kurt Crowley as we get ready to bring you the final round of tonight's quad. Kirk, we've seen some good matches here tonight. I know that some of the teams a little bit short as far as numbers are concerned. I know there are some teams who have kind of been hit by illness and injury coming into tonight, but we've had some good quality matches off and on tonight.
We really have, and what I've been impressed with is the fight out of the kids. Even regardless of what the scoreboard's saying, they're still fighting to stay in matches and try to win those matches.
So we're going to start on the mat now with South Loup against Overton. That will be one of our final duels of the night as we feature the Bobcats against the Eagles live on KCNI Radio.
And right now, Paxton Bierman of South Loup is wrestling Mason Dutro of Overton. Dutro's trying to get in on a double leg shot, can't get that. Bierman does a good job of fighting it off. Wrestlers now back to their feet, back in that neutral position. Bierman with a little feint shot there. Dutro takes a little shot to the leg, doesn't get much penetration on it. Wrestlers break apart. No score in this match as we're down to about a minute 10 to go here in the first period. Bierman pawn with that left hand, Dutro wiping it off. Again, nobody's really taken a definitive shot. We've had a couple changed levels, kind of touch and knee. There's a shot, a high C shot by Bierman. Looks like he would have liked to have tried to work a little fireman action off that. Can't get to it, and now Dutro's come around, and he's got a cradle hooked up. Bierman's trying to slide around the corner. Dutro's trying to meet the pressure. Dutro's dumped Bierman. He's got the three-point takedown, and he's still got the cradle hooked up, but Bierman just powers through that. There's 4 points to Dutro, but Dutro is now on his back. He got two reversal for Bierman, and he's got the fall. Oh, my goodness. Dutro had that cradle hooked up. Bierman just powered his way through the situation, and he ends up winning. Paxton Bierman, South Loup, Bobcat wins by fall.
Well, that was some fun action in the opening period.
That was a flurry.
There you go. Paxton Bierman of South Loup gets the win by fall to put South Loup in front in the duel by a score of 6-0. We're starting at 165 pounds as we get ready to go now to the duel between Twin Loup and Ansley Litchfield. Twin Loup 2-0 in dual competition on the night. Again, Twin Loup, a deep team that can bring a lot of wrestlers to the table and report at several weights, and they will get things started that way here in their final duel of the night against Ansley Litchfield, as Twin Loup will come out and get things started with a walkover to start things in their duel against the Spartans. Again, this is the final round of the night. Ansley Litchfield against Twin Loup, and Overton against South Loup is what we'll be watching for here tonight. So now we go back to Twin Loup against Ansley Litchfield, and we'll try to bring up the info for you so that we can report who's stepping out and picking up the wins for Twin Loup. At 165, Kaysen Smith of Twin Loup unopposed gets the win by forfeit. Oren Grin of Twin Loup comes out unopposed at 175. Now we're moving to 190 as you've got Overton and South Loup both open at the weight class, and Twin Loup again showing their depth, able to bring someone else to the table and pick up the win by forfeit as Blake Bodorf comes out and collects points at 190 pounds. So we move to 215. Ansley Litchfield, South Loup, I believe both open at that weight class. I think you're going to get the same thing, or Overton, yes, Overton and South Loup both open at 215. You'll get Ansley Litchfield open at Ansley Litchfield and Twin Loup will both be open at 215, so we'll go to 285, where Brent Shipwright of Twin Loup will come out and pick up the win by forfeit at 285. So now we'll go to some of the lighter weights. And again, with what we've seen so far tonight, I think we'll have to move to 120 before we get a match, as I think all four teams here tonight have been open for the most part at 106 and 113. So they will announce that to those in attendance, and we'll kind of work our way to 120 pounds where we've seen some matches here tonight. We'll see if that happens in our final round of competition here this evening. So it looks like we're going to put the focus back on South Loup and Overton, as South Loup will send a wrestler to the table, and the Bobcats will come out with Noah Hyatt. And Hyatt is going to get a win by forfeit. I think that's at 120 now, if I'm not mistaken. So Hyatt will get the win there. Now we've got Ansley Litchfield wrestling Twin Loup. We'll go back to that duel, and it looks like we're going to get a match to come out, and we'll call it for you. As we are at 120 pounds, Colton Clay is going to be the representative for Ansley Litchfield. Twin Loup wrestler still reporting at the table. So we'll see who the Wolves send out to the mat. Again, we're in the final duels of the evening, final round of competition. Ansley Litchfield taking on Twin Loup, Overton against South Loup. And Nathan Lowry will be the representative for Twin Loup. He'll be wrestling Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield. And here we go at 120 pounds.
Lowry and Clay just underway here with no score in the bout. Again, as Brent said, 120 pounders here, and it all comes down to matchups. And there's a shot by Lowry in on a double leg, and he's able to get that double leg. Takes an early 3-0 lead. Colton Clay trying to face out. Here comes in the right-hand half by Lowry. Clay tries to wing it down, and now we've got an illegal hold. 1 point awarded to Colton Clay. I'm not sure if Lowry didn't come off the half before he came in. And as we all know, two halves make a whole, and a full Nelson isn't what you want. So it's a 3-1 score now. Lowry leads. He keeps his top position, and right now he's cinching up a tight waist. I'm sure Colton Clay can feel that, but Colton gets up to his feet. He's trying to peel those hands. We have potentially dangerous situation. There's Clay's arm was trapped. Really good call by Mr. Weisendorfer. If Clay gets returned there with that arm trapped on his side, he can't protect himself. So we go back to the referee's position. Clay pops up to his feet here, and he's peeling hands. He comes right back in on the leg, and he's dropped down on the leg. Lowry's trying to square up with him. Clay's picked up the leg, trying to get to his feet. Lowry runs him over. And it looks like there's no award. Lowry turned right back in there. Our score remains at 3-1. Clay turned right back in, tried to get a reversal, wasn't able to. Score remains at 3-1. Clay quickly to his feet. Lowry with little ankle pick. Returns him. And we've seen Colton Clay really have a lot of fight in him tonight. Lowry now with that left-hand half. He's got the wrist caught on the far side. Nathan Lowry trying to stretch. Colton Clay trying to get that half off of his head. And there it is. There's an illegal full Nelson. It's the same call as what you had before. And you could hear Mr. Weisendorfer said, no, those are touching. As soon as his hands touch, that's considered. You don't have to lock up. If the fingers touch, if the hand touches the wrist, whatever, on the back of the head, that's full Nelson. And that makes the score now 3-2. Under 10 seconds remaining in the first period. Lowry has the 3-2 lead. Technically, he scored all the points here. But Clay is now trying to come out and square up and get an escape, and he can't quite get there. So the period ends. It's a 3-2 lead for Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup. Lowry defers. Clay defers. Lowry's going to go back to neutral. Lowry has the one lone takedown in the match. He has a 3-2 lead, and here we go in the second period. Colton Clay looking for an offensive point here, trailing by 1. Clay tries to get in, but he doesn't get the right arm up off that top level. And now he's trying to hip in on the situation. Lowry, though, comes out of it. Can Lowry scramble around, get the ankle pick? Clay's dropped in on the leg, and we end up in a scramble situation with nobody scoring. 29 seconds gone here in the second period. It's a 3-2 Nathan Lowry lead over Ansley Litchfield's Colton Clay. Clay again trying to be heavy on the head, but there's a double leg shot. Lowry gets underneath all that, comes in on a good old double leg and scores 3 more. So Lowry's choice of neutral pays off. He takes a 6-2 lead. And there comes in that deep half again. He's got the right hand on the wrist. He's tied up the wrist on the far side. Trying to stretch, trying to turn, and he does. Clay trying to hop through the situation, can't quite get through it, and now Lowry's settling him down, and he does. Fall by Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup over Ansley Litchfield's Colton Clay.
So that'll be 6 more points added to the Twin Loup score, as they will go up to 30 now points total for Twin Loup as they lead the duel. Twin Loup's been really solid tonight. Not only do they bring a lot of wrestlers to the table, Kirk, but they got some quality kids too. I'm interested to watch this Twin Loup team in the rest of the dual season.
Yeah, they've got, and right there in the middle with Grant, Smith, Bodart, for those guys, that's a pretty tough group right in the middle. And yeah, I'll bet the room's kind of active there and when those guys get together.
All right, let's go back over to the South Loop Overton duel now. We're going to get a match on the mat for you now as we go to 126 pounds. Hayden Cantrell of Overton wrestling Josiah Coleman of South Loop.
Yeah, and these styles make for kind of an interesting match. We've seen Cantrell kind of come out early. He's really been kind of gunning at things, been quick to get a lead, and Coleman's just keeps good position, kind of steady, doesn't panic in situations, so makes for an interesting matchup here at 126 pounds. Right now, we're about 20 seconds into the match, no score. You can see Coleman trying to work a little shrug. Cantrell pulls out of that. We're right on the logo. Coleman controlling the elbow on the left side, tried to pass, tried to drive down to the leg, didn't get there, but there he goes again. Cantrell's going to have to be watchful of that because what happens is you got a left-hand control on the elbow, tries to pass it across his face, and Coleman drops down to the leg as the elbow passes. So far, Cantrell's been able to square up on that. Wrestlers again, face-to-face, 45 seconds remaining here in that first period. There's a right-hand collar tie. Little feint shot by Coleman. Cantrell now is trying to slow down the action a little bit with that right-hand collar tie. There it is. Elbow pass across your face, drops down to the leg, and Coleman scores the 3. He tried that 3 times in that first period. The third time he was able to get down, penetrate enough to get to the leg and score the 3 points. Nice move by Coleman. Cantrell now up to his feet, trying to peel hands here as the time's winding out. Can he score the 1? Coleman's trying to hustle and keep up, and there's a little forward roll action, and Cantrell comes out, scores the 1. It's a 3-1 score. Good job there by Hayden Cantrell of Overton. Scores right at the end of the first period. That's a 3-1 score. Interesting first period. Fun match to watch. I think this will continue the way. Cantrell with choice, he defers, and Coleman's going to go back to neutral. We'll see if Cantrell makes any adjustments on that elbow pass down to the leg. There comes him with that left-hand collar tie, and you can see here, he ties up the wrist. Shrug this time by Coleman. Now, underhook by Cantrell kind of help ease that off of him. We'll see if Coleman comes out of that position. Again, really good matchup here. 2 pretty good guys. Head-to-head. There they come off of it. Cantrell ties up with the left hand. Coleman goes to the elbow. Will he pass it? Drop to the leg. Now he goes inside and picks up the action a little bit by Coleman. Cantrell just stays square. There Coleman drops down, gets down to a leg. A little different action, shoots the other leg that time. Now he's got that single leg up. He's got it pitted. Trips, and then Coleman doesn't panic, just very steady, secures the takedown again. Good job by Josiah Coleman. He takes a 6-1 lead. Comes around, Cantrell posts the right foot up, trying to come up, look again for his escape. Coleman crushes down to the hip, but Cantrell does a good job of getting right back to his table. There's a chop by by Coleman. Cantrell now flattened out. He's got to work himself back up into his base. 45 seconds to go, second period. Cantrell reaches under, trying to peel that hand off, trying to free the inside arm. There's the pod. There's the scrub heel by Coleman. He comes up underneath, shows that a three-quarter stack, doesn't commit to it, but instead gets a nice lift and a good mat return. Josiah with good position on top. Cantrell flat now. He's got to get air back in the tire, try to get himself built back up. There's a little corkscrew action by Coleman, and he comes around and attacks that quick. Now he comes up to the head. He's got the wrist caught underneath. Cantrell fighting off his back, and you can see Mr. Pfeiffer's counting. I think he got a 3 count. We'll see how this plays out. And there's the award of 3 near fall, and there's the end of the period. So big points there scored by Josiah as he adds 3 more with the near fall at the end of the period. Those can't be answered. 9-1 lead for Coleman. So we head to the third period. Coleman is in the bottom position. Hayden Cantrell of Overton in the top position. Hayden understands the situation. He's going to have to get busy. He's going to have to get active here on top. Again, Coleman comes up, just hits a stand-up, and you can see Cantrell's looking for big moves. He knows what he needs here. 1 neutral for Coleman, then he comes right back in, drops in on the double leg, and he's just steady, works himself up, walks up the rope, and there he goes. Scores his takedown, 3 points, and now he's got Cantrell in some trouble. It's a 13-1 lead for Coleman. And the 4-point award as Cantrell gets off his back, but the tech ball goes Josiah Coleman's way. 5 more points for South Loup. Really like the way Coleman wrestles.
Yeah, he's had a great season, too. It'll be fun to watch him the rest of the way. Has had a good night tonight. Picks up some bonus points for his team with the win by Tech Fall as we continue to roll through the final round of our dual competition here tonight. South Loup extending their lead against Overton in their duel. Those 5 points picked up by Coleman will make the score 17-0 now in favor of South Loup in their duel. Of course, the other duel that's going on involves Ansley Litchfield against Twin Loup, but it looks as though we're going to stay with South Loup and Overton as Twin Loup and Ansley Litchfield were both open at 126 pounds, so we're going to go to 132, I believe, now, and we're going to get South Loup and Overton back out on the mat, as it'll be Tristan Jarman of Overton wrestling Ben Linden of South Loup. We wrestle at 132 pounds.
Jarman and Linden, as Brent said, here at 132 pounds, no score. Linden drops in on a little single leg action. Can he get it picked up? He does. He gets pitted. Steps through, trips, and scores a 3-point takedown. Ben Linden of South Loup with the early takedown. And he gets right after things. Tries to slide in a right-hand half, but Jarman gets his hips up. Jarman's trying to turn in, but Linden slides in that right-hand half again. He's got pressure, but Jarman's got his hips up, and he pulls that off. Now, Jarman's got the half off his head. Can he score out from underneath? Linden settling back around. And Linden, persistent with that half, gets it stuck back up there. Jarman comes to his feet. Linden drops down on the single leg. He's got the leg picked up, but Jarman now this time breaks the grip, and he's squared up, and he's come out front. Can he come around and get a reversal? Linden drops back in on the leg. There's been no change of position. You can see Mr. Pfeiffer still showing, and there's the reversal as Jarman finally able to get around back, scored the 2-point reversal. It's a 3-2 score. 3-2 score, Ben Linden in the bottom position with the 1-point lead for the South Loup Bobcats. Linden sits out. Jarman looks like he'd like to hit a crossface cradle. Can't quite catch up to things. Linden can't get squared up. Jarman now slides into right-hand half. Can he hop across? Doesn't. Linden rolls through the situation, gets back to his table. It's a 3-2 score. Linden underneath. Jarman picks the ankle, runs it forward. Linden builds back up. Jarman goes right back to the ankle. Here comes our towel guy. And Jarman's going to turn him right here at the end of this first period. He's got points coming his way. He's not going to get him pinned, but he does get 2-point award. And Tristan Jarman, with those 2 late points, takes a 4-2 lead. Or excuse me, a 4-3 lead.
Well, as we near 7 o'clock, just want to sneak in and remind those of you who are listening to us maybe on KCNI 1280 AM. Due to FCC regulations, our AM transmitter will be signing off at 7 o'clock tonight. However, our programming continues on KCNI 96.3 FM, on the web at KCNI1280.com, and on the free KCNI Pure Country app. Don't forget, we're live with our video stream as well on Sandhills Express.
And just as Grant closes that up, Ben Linden gets a little toss, and he puts Jarman off his feet to his back, and Linden now working for the pin. Jarman's working hard to get off his back, but Linden now adjusting. We're right in the middle of the mat. Jarman trying to get that left arm underneath and trying to bring it through. Linden trying to settle him down if he can attack that far arm. It's the inside shoulder that's up. If he can get underneath the far arm, bring it across. And there's the fall for Ben Linden. Man, that match had a lot of action for 2 minutes and 52 seconds of wrestling. Your winner by fall, Ben Linden.
I was just going to say, I think that may have been our most entertaining match of the night. You know, it's really great when you come to matchups like this, Kirk, when you get two wrestlers you can tell of kind of equal ability and both being aggressive, both going at it. Fun match to watch.
Yeah, both guys trying to do what they can do to win the match. Yeah, more power to them. That was fun.
All right, we're going to go back to the Ansley Litchfield Twin Loop duel as Traven Shada of Twin Loop will come out unopposed at 132 pounds. So Traven will pick up the win by forfeit there. That will bring the focus back to the Overton South Loop duel, and it looks like Overton will be able to send out a wrestler unopposed as Wyatt Kyle will come out at 138 pounds and pick up points for Overton. That actually will be Overton's first points of the duel as they get the win by forfeit at 138. Ansley Litchfield and Twin Loop. Twin Loop comes out at 138 pounds. Twin Loop able to pick up the win by forfeit as Terrence Verbos comes out to represent the Wolves at 138. So now we go back to Overton against South Loop. And I think that they're both open at 144. So that should bring us back to Ansley Litchfield against Twin Loop. And we should get a match coming up here. Looks like it's going to be Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield against Wyatt Faust of Twin Loop. And for Faust, this will be his first match of the evening, as we'll get Aguilar against Faust happening now at 144 pounds.
These wrestlers just underway. Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield, a little taller, a little longer limbed. Wyatt Faust, not as tall and just kind of stuck together. Faust with a little tape there on that right hand. Looks like maybe a little support for that right thumb. Doesn't look like it's going to bother him any. No score in this match as we're 30 seconds into it. 144 pounders. Wrestlers right in the middle of the mat. Faust trying to tie up wrist. Drags down to a little bit of a single leg, and now he's switched off to the double. Can Faust finish this off? Aguilar was on the ankle, but he can't keep that. Faust slides up. Little body lock action. And now Aguilar's looking for a headlock. Faust rolls through the headlock. Good job there by Faust. Uses the momentum, rolls through the headlock, and he scores the three-point takedown. And now Faust on top, has the hammer series going. At the left arm of Aguilar on his back. Again, wrestling taking place right in the middle of the mat. Good job by Aguilar there, building back up to his table. Faust comes around aggressively, and Aguilar faces out and scores his one. 3-1 your score. Wyatt Faust of Twin Loop with the lead here. Wrestlers in the neutral position. We've got 30 seconds to go here in the first period. Aguilar with a takedown. Can take a lead in the match. Faust can extend. Right now, nobody's really taken a shot. We're down to 15 seconds remaining here in the first period. See if somebody takes a level change, tries to get down on a leg. Both wrestlers just kind of tying up. Faust banging on the head a little bit. And there's the end of the first period, and our score will remain 3-1 in favor of Wyatt Faust of Twin Loup. Looks like a little blood time for Faust. No injury involved here, just a little blood time.
Will give us an opportunity to once again say thanks to all of the great sponsors who have been bringing you this special coverage on Central Nebraska's Sports Source. We thanked the video stream sponsors a little bit earlier this evening in our broadcast. We'll take time to thank the radio sponsors. I want to say thanks to Central Nebraska Electric, Twin Loup Boosters, Muddy Creek Ag, Jones Group, Flatwater Bank, Rocks Underground, Insurance of the Heartland, Agribest Feeds, South Loop Community Pharmacy, Callaway District Hospital, A1 Auto Repair, Hamilton, Custer County Exteriors, Mills Hardware, and Rain Dance Repair.
And we're underway here in the second period. Wyatt Faust took the bottom position. He was able to sit out, come up to his feet, and get a quick one. So we're about 15 seconds into the second period. It's a 4-1 lead for Wyatt Faust, and we're back in that neutral position. Aguilar trying to control risk, but Faust shoots in underneath, gets a double leg, comes around, scores it. 2 takedowns for Faust in the match, and he extends the lead to 7-1. Aguilar up to his table, 30 seconds here into the second period. Aguilar trailing 7-1. Faust coming around on the side. And we've seen these wrestlers tonight doing a good job of coming around, looking for pins, looking for ways to score points, not just sitting back on the hips, and that's what Faust is doing as well. Tying up the wrist on the inside there. Aguilar now up on his table, but Faust has got a wing, trying to get that left wing in. Aguilar fighting it off. Now Aguilar moves his hips, got his hips out, but Faust catches up, and he does settle back in the saddle, back into his ride. 48 seconds remaining here in the second period. Faust again with the 7-1 lead. Aguilar sits out, faces out. Faust pretty much just cuts him loose. It's a 7-2 lead for Faust. Aguilar looking for his first takedown. Faust would like to score his third. Time winding down, under 30 seconds to go in the second period. Faust taking the ground. Aguilar out of bounds, fights his way back in. Faust meets him, cuts him off. Again, Faust leaning hard here. We'll see if Aguilar, can he work some kind of a snap? Can he work something that use that momentum of Faust is pushing into him? Talboy out now. Faust again taking the ground. We're in the middle of the mat. Wrestlers tied up. There's a little high C shot. Faust tries to switch off to a double, and the time runs out. So we've got 2 periods in the books. It's a 7-2 lead for Wyatt Faust of Twin Loup over Ansley Litchfield's Caleb Aguilar. I think Caleb's going to take the neutral position here. And again, we have a little blood time here for Faust. And when I say little, I mean it, because we're back into the action here. So Aguilar takes the neutral position. He reaches up, ties up. Faust again takes the ground, gets that left hand underhook. Wades in, gets the left hand underhook. And Faust is going to try to hit a headlock. He's got the head caught, but Faust has got both knees squared up, and Faust is not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to roll Faust through that. Faust counters it, scores the 3. 10-2 lead now for Wyatt. Twin Loup Wolf in the top position with the big lead, working on a major decision now. Aguilar sits out. Faust comes back around back. We're wrestling right in the middle of the mat again. It's an 8-point spread, so Wyatt Faust right now with that major decision going. Aguilar steps over the leg. I'm not sure he wants to be there. Gets off of it now. Faust settles back, scrubs a heel, riding the left side. Faust trying to work a little head lever action. Aguilar trying to wind up off that. And Aguilar just keeps reaching back for that head, and Faust able to just counter it, kind of wipe it off, settles back in, and now he's flattened Aguilar back down on the mat. Faust controlling the wrist, settled in the saddle. 45 seconds remaining here in this match. You can see Faust peek at the clock. He knows just where he's at. Has that 8-point spread, working on the major decision, tying up a wrist. And now we got a warning for stalling on Wyatt on the top. And you could see Mr. Weisendorfer's telling him you got to get off those hips. You got to work off to the side. Try to improve things, work for a pin. Wyatt looks over at Coach, gets a little advice, and now he'll mount up. And here we go. Picks the inside ankle, tries to lift it and step through. Aguilar flattened out again. We're down under 30 seconds to go. Aguilar gets back to his base. Does a good job of building himself back up to the base. Just hasn't quite been able to score there. Reaching back, trying to get the hands off the spike. Faust now doubles up a 2-on-1 on the arm. Now Aguilar's got that arm up over his shoulder, sits out, tries to face out, and he scores his one. Good job there by Caleb Aguilar scoring the one, and that nullifies the major decision. And Faust White tries to drive in, and that's the end of the match. But those should be a 10-3 score. Aguilar drops a decision, but that escape late saved him from dropping a major decision.
So Wyatt Faust gets the win for Twin Loup, as the Wolves on their way to going unbeaten in dual competition here tonight. Picked up wins earlier against South Loup and Overton, and now trying to secure the win in their duel against Ansley Litchfield. We are in the final round of competition, and we are moving into our final weight classes of this round as we put the focus back on the South Loup and Overton duel, where your score is 23-6 right now, with South Loup leading Overton. We're going to go to 150 pounds now, where Dalton Muirhead of Overton will take on Ryan Lords of South Loup.
Mr. Pfeiffer has the wrestlers out on the block, and we're underway. Wrestlers tying up each other's wrist. Muirhead and Lords, Lords of South Loup. Right now just hand fighting, trying to tie those wrists up. You can see Lord's little faint shot, no penetration on it. Muirhead able to square up. There, a little high crotch shot by Lords in on the leg. He's got two hands on the single. Can he get it picked up? Muirhead's trying to sprawl back, trying to break the grip. Lords trying to stay tough. And now Muirhead dumps him down on a hip. And Muirhead stepped over the leg. We'll see if he can get around. There it is. Scores the three-point takedown. Muirhead with the early 3-0 lead. Lords just not quite enough penetration to get on the leg. Can't quite finish the move up. Muirhead now settled back with the tight waist, riding the left side. Lords gets himself potted up. We're wrestling right along the edge there. Oh, and there comes a cradle. Well, it's not a cradle because he's come up underneath the armpit, and you can see Mr. Pfeiffer has signaled it's a technical violation. He's going to get locked hands, which will put 1 point on Lords' side of the scoreboard. Yeah, it wasn't up over the shoulder. It was underneath, basically just locking your hands. And that's what he's explaining to the Overton coach. Yeah. When I first saw it, I thought, cradle. And it was under the pit, not over it. Good call by Mr. Pfeiffer. Good explanation. Everybody moves on. Lords keeps in the bottom position, but he does have 1 point on the board. Sits out. Muirhead flattens him out. And the Overton wrestler now in control's got the wrist controlled on the far side. Lords sits out. Muirhead flattens him out. And now Lords has to work back up to his table, and he does a good job of getting there. Muirhead settles back, riding that left side. Lords trying to control the wrist there on the near side. Reaching back in, and Muirhead flattens him out again. 20 seconds remaining here in the first period. Lords builds himself back up. Muirhead's got the left leg laced in. It looks like he's working a little banana split action. We'll see if he's able to get a turn. And he does. Lords rolls on through it, but you're going to get some points for back points here for Muirhead. Lords comes out. There's a 3-point award, but the period runs out before Lords can score anything. So Muirhead scores the last 3 points with the near fall and takes a 6-1 lead into the second period. Looks like Ryan Lords is going to be in the neutral position as Muirhead deferred. 6-1 lead for Dalton Muirhead of Overton. Wrestlers tied up. We're just at the second period here, just the beginning of the second period. Again, we've seen this before, wrestlers tying up those wrists. Lords now will need more penetration if he comes in on a shot. We saw him take a shot earlier, just couldn't quite get to the leg. Wrestlers break apart. Muirhead squared up. We'll wrestle him right on the logo. Break apart again. You got to be careful breaking apart there so that you don't get out of your stance. And again, you see Lords drop in on the shot, can't get to the leg. Now he's trying to follow up with the double leg, but Muirhead able to fight that off. Muirhead with a nice shot of his own, and he gets a double leg. Changes levels, gets in deep, and scores the 3. Dalton Muirhead with a 9-1 lead. That was a nice double leg shot. And it came coming out of a position, relaxing a little bit. Muirhead came in underneath that. Now Muirhead working on chicken tipper, and he's going to walk the head, and he's got Ryan Lords in all kinds of trouble, and there's your fall. Dalton Muirhead of Overton, your winner by fall.
So Dalton Muirhead of Overton gets the win by fall. That'll add 6 more points to the Overton score in the duel. But it looks like South Loup is still going to be able to win the duel, though. They led 23-6 before that match between Muirhead and Lords. If South Loup can hang on, South Loup would actually win their second of the 3 duels that they wrestled in tonight. We'll recap those scores for you once we come to our conclusion. Meanwhile, let's go back over to the duel in this round featuring Ansley Litchfield and Twin Loup, as we will get a match coming up which I think could be really good. Owen Broad of Ansley Litchfield will wrestle Emmett Grint of Twin Loup at 150 pounds.
These guys are just underway. Collar tie. And there you can see Brott reaches down low, and Grint kind of passes him and comes around, scores the 3. Grint with a quick early 3-0 lead. Brott rolls through a situation, comes out of it, and he gets a reversal. Just about had Grint going to his back there. Grint bails out of it. Brott gets the reversal. It's a 3-2 match. So far, Brent, you've called it just right. This has been a good match. And we're just barely getting started. Now Grint gets up to his feet, trying to peel hands, and Brott just cuts him loose. So the 1-point escape runs it to 4-2. Grint with the lead. These guys are at 150 pounds. Just underway, and we've seen a lot of action out of these two. Wrestling taking place on the logo. Right-hand collar tie by Brott. Grint controlling the elbow. Brott drops down. Grint fights that off. Wrestler still tied up, right on the logo. Head-to-head, and there they break apart. 40 seconds to go here in the first period. It's a 4-2 lead for Grint of Twin Loup over Broad of Ansley Litchfield. Grint with a little shot, doesn't get enough penetration. Now he's kind of stuck underneath, but he's going to try to follow it up with a double leg, and he gets to the legs and powers in. Emmett Grint with a 3-point takedown, 7-2 lead. Now he's trying to get a little cheap tilt action going here. He's got the wrist caught underneath there, and now Broad is in some trouble as Grint's going to work his way up. You see Grint attacking the head, and now he's settling Brott down. Brott in all kinds of trouble, and there's your fall with just 3 seconds remaining in the first period. Grint, your winner by fall.
So Emmett Grint gets the win by fall at 150 pounds over Owen Broad of Ansley Litchfield. Adds 6 more to the team score for Twin Loup as the Wolves will go through the evening unbeaten. They'll pick up dual wins against Ansley Litchfield as they have secured that win now. Also picking up wins earlier tonight against Overton and against South Loup. So let's go back to the back to the Overton South Loup duel now, as we're coming to our final matches of the evening. We are in our final weight class now of this final round, 157 pounds, as Alex Gibson of Overton takes on Jacob King of South Loup.
King tries a shot too far away, can't get to the leg. Comes back up. There's another a shot by Gibson. This time Gibson gets to the leg. King is sprawled back. Gibson's kind of stuck underneath. King trying to come around, but instead Gibson wins out on the scramble. Now, nobody scored. Gibson's in a rear stand position, but King able to get out of that. And after that flurry of action, no score. Wrestlers back in the neutral position. We're 40 seconds into the match. There, King takes a shot, gets to the double leg. Can he score? He's trying to get the hips lifted, and he does. King with the three-point takedown. And Gibson rolls through, but not until he gives up 2-point near fall. So King with the early 5-0 lead. Gibson comes up to his feet, faces out, scores the one. 5-0 is now 5-1. So you should have 3-point takedown. You should have 2-point, there it is, 2-point near fall and 1-point escape. Bottom line, King 5, Gibson 1. There's another double leg shot by King. He's able to follow it up with his hips. He scores it, and he dumps Gibson right to his back. And King right now is working for the fall. Gibson's trying to fight through, and he can't. Jacob King of South Loup secures the fall at about 1:27 in the match.
So Jacob King, as Kurt mentioned, gets the win by fall, adds 6 more to the team score for South Loup. So your final in the duel between South Loup and Overton will be 29-12 in favor of the Bobcats, who will end up going 2-1 tonight as they pick up wins against Overton and Ansley Litchfield. Their loss coming to Twin Loup a little bit earlier in the evening. All right, we're wrapping things up now as coming out for Twin Loup will be Noah Meister at 157 pounds. He'll be unopposed there. So Meister will come out, get the 6 points for his team as Twin Loup will win the duel against Ansley Litchfield. Final score will be 57-0 is how it will go in the book, as Twin Loup ends up going undefeated as far as duel competition is concerned. They'll go through the duel 3-0. We'll take a look at all of the duel scores here in a moment, but first let's just go back and recap what happened in this final round. We'll look at Ansley Litchfield and Twin Loup. We'll just recap the matches that took place in the duel. Nathan Lowry of Twin Loup getting the win by fall over Colton Clay of Ansley Litchfield at 120 pounds. At 144, Wyatt Faust, winner by a 10-3 decision over Caleb Aguilar of Ansley Litchfield. And Emmett Grint of Twin Loup got the win by fall over Owen Broad of Ansley Litchfield at 150 pounds. Those who picked up wins for Twin Loup unopposed in the duel: Kaysen Smith at 165, Oren Grint at 175, Blake Bodorf at 190, Brent Shipwright at 285, Traven Shada at 132, Terrence Furbas at 138, and just a moment ago, Noah Meister at 157 pounds. As we go back and recap the duel between South Loup and Overton, South Loup got the win. Final score was 29-12. At 165 pounds in that duel, Paxton Bierman of South Loup, winner by fall over Mason Dutro of Overton. Noah Hyatt of South Loup got the win by forfeit at 120 pounds. At 126 pounds, Josiah Coleman of South Loup, winner by tech fall over Hayden Cantrell of Overton. At 132 pounds, really one of the more entertaining matches of the night, Ben Linden of South Loup got the win by fall over Tristan Jarman of Overton. At 138 pounds, Wyatt Kyle of Overton, winner by forfeit. At 150, Dalton Muirhead of Overton, winner by fall over Ryan Lords. And at 157 pounds, Jacob King of South Loup, a big win by fall against Alex Gibson of Overton, as Twin Loup wins the duel by a score of 29-12. So as we recap it, Twin Loup in round one defeated South Loup 54-12. It was Overton against Ansley Litchfield in round one, winning 25-6. The round two scores had South Loup winning over Ansley Litchfield 24-12, and Twin Loup defeated Overton 54-11. I think one thing that you have to bring to the forefront, you read off some of those scores. Ansley Litchfield wrestled with 3 kids tonight. They had 3 healthy guys to come out on the mat, Kirk. But I thought represented Ansley Litchfield very well, as did everybody here tonight. I know that South Loup, Overton, and certainly Ansley Litchfield, not as deep as what Twin Loup brought to the table, but I thought that all teams represented themselves well tonight.
Yeah, we saw some really interesting matches and some good matchup of styles, and we saw some guys that maybe weren't as experienced, but wrestling other inexperienced guys made for a good matchup. And I guess what sticks in my mind is how well the guys from all these teams represented as far as not giving in to situations, fighting themselves through, not getting hung up on what the scoreboard was saying, just saying, hey, I'm not going to lose this situation. And, you know, when you've got guys that are fighting through things like that, you can work with that kind of thing. So, yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun to do this, and it's great to get started.
Yes. Well, we'll be doing this more as the season rolls along. As we think about area competitors, the next big event that we will be at will be the Sandhills Thetford Knights Wrestling Invitational coming up in January, and it will also serve as the Mid-Nebraska Activities Conference Championship Tournament as well. We've been doing that for the last couple of years. We'll look forward to that. And then, of course, we'll have Broken Bow Wrestling for you coming up later in the season, and we'll get busy with more conference and districts. And, well, listen, I know we're still in December, but it goes awfully fast. We'll be getting to districts and state before you know it. So we'll look forward to going through the wrestling season with you once again, Coach.
Well, and I always enjoy it, and it's fun to cover the area kids especially, and it'll be a fun second half as, you know, you think about Christmas being kind of that midpoint at times, and we're just about there.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our coverage here tonight. I want to say thanks again to all of the great sponsors you heard throughout the night on our radio broadcast. I want to say thanks to those who made our live video stream possible as well through sandhillsexpress.com. Special thanks to Jack Simpson, who helped us out behind the camera. Of course, Kirk Crawley providing the play-by-play. Want to remind you that going on our sister station tonight, we have high school basketball coverage as Anselmo Myrna is taking on Mullen in Mullen tonight. And you can listen to those games happening on our sister station, KBBN, 95.3 FM, and KBBN.com. That's going to wrap it up from here in Ansley. For Jack Simpson, for Kurt Crawley, for all of the sponsors that made the broadcast possible, I'm Brent Apperson. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to our coverage of high school sports. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Also, a special word of thanks goes out to our sponsors who make our coverage possible. You too can thank those businesses by allowing them to be a service to you. Join us again next time for our continuing coverage of high school sports. In the meantime, read more on SandhillsExpress.com from Central Nebraska's sports source.
Driving home with all the Christmas music.
There's nothing.
The 3-2 pitch swung on, and a little blooper to right field. That's a base hit. Bo's going to win. Coming in to score the winning run is Caden McKean, and Broken Bow wins the Mid-Nebraska League Championship game in walk-off fashion. Carter Johnson, a little flare to right field. Found the outfield grass, and Broken Bow has won the Mid-Nebraska League Championship.
He's just a strong opponent for any wrestler. I mean, undefeated state champ last year in the state finals the year before, a three-time state medalist, and there, a really nice takedown, good fluid motion by a guy that's wrestling 195 pounds.
Brady Skinner with it, up top. Bay at the buzzer, hits the three, nice looking shot.
To Folkers, back at the Grant, long three, got it!
Nice, Cash attacks, double.